On lick after lick, and Richardson rolled up 37 points to go 1-0 in the conference. Week 2, and the A&M tour rolls into Baylor, and it was Hill on the ground and Richardson at the helm make the record 2-0. Bring on Houston. A crafty Richardson bombarded the Cougars for 27 points through the year. And a defense that grows more intense each week shut Houston down. Next up, Rice. The story doesn't change. Hill on the ground, Aggies are 4-0. Tonight, it's the Horned Frogs who are charged with ending this rage toward the Cotton Bowl. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fort Worth, Texas, a very cold Amon G. Carter Stadium, and a matchup of the Southwest Conference between the Texas Aggies, number 12 in the nation, as they come calling against the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin. Welcome to a special edition of CFA Primetime on Thursday evening. Before we talk about the two institutions who are involved in this ball game tonight, just a quick mention that we, just as you, did not learn of the shocking news of Magic Johnson on the West Coast until late this afternoon. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going back to our studios to get more information and reaction from around the country. And we would only say that our thoughts are with Magic Johnson and with his family. Tonight, Texas A&M and TCU, and Mike Gottfried, the Aggies of Texas A&M, quite a shocker. They're very young. They're led by a freshman, Sam Adams, on defense. They are led by Greg Hill, a freshman, as a running back. But the guy that makes it all happen is number 7, Bucky Richardson.
Ron, Bucky Richardson's the heart of this offensive football team. Look for A&M tonight to come out to throw the football, then to establish the option game, but to try to pound the Texas Christian defense up inside with a strong running game.
Well, if you have followed the Aggies, or even if you have not, over recent years, defensively, they have been devastating. And this is no different this year.
They're a solid defensive football team. They're very quick. They're going to face a different style of offense tonight. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back. Look for them to pressure the quarterback, play a lot of man coverage.
What about Jim Wacker and his TCU Horned Frogs? They are 6-2, but you need a doctor to describe it. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch in the locker room.
Thanks, Ron. You know, they're called the Horned Frogs, but a more appropriate name may be the Hurt Frogs, as 13 of their 22 starters recently have gone down to injury. On offense, their biggest losses have been at quarterback, where Leon Clay, Tim Shade, and Matt Vogler have all sustained injuries. Now, Vogler will start tonight, but he certainly is ailing. Defensively, they began the year with 11 healthy defensive tackles. They are down to 2, and both are redshirt freshmen. Now, head trainer Ross Bailey and his staff have worked around the clock to get some of these kids back. And there's a possibility that 5th-year senior Alex Molina and junior college transfer Thomas Lewis could see action tonight. But don't give up on the Horned Frogs. At this church-related school where much as they do is predicated on faith, Coach Wacker has convinced his young men they can play with anybody in America. And with 6 wins already this year, he just might be right. Ron?
Okay, Jerry, and down on the field, R.C. Slocum and his Texas A&M Aggies. The tunnel in the south end. Here come the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University. Head coach Jim Wacker. This special presentation of CFA Thursday Night Football on ESPN is brought to you by Budweiser. First meeting, 1906. Texas A&M leads this series. 50 wins, 29 losses. There have been 7 ties. But the last time the TCU won, it was at College Station, 13-10. And Mike, some of the kids were commenting at practice day before yesterday. Some of them were not even born the last time TCU defeated the Aggies.
It's been a long time. Now, A&M's going to get the ball first. Ron, I look for Bob Toledo, the offensive coordinator, try to throw on first down, try to set up the option. You see the head coaches, both teams.
Well, Jim Wacker on the left for TCU, and he just said, guys, we've got our hands full with Texas A&M, even if we're healthy. And of course, the situation is they are not healthy. We will get you a shot of R.C. Slocum in just a second. That was another one of the assistant coaches, but was not R.C. But right now, his ball club, and he will say, frankly, this was going to be a rebuilding year because of the youth on this football team. There's RC right there. And he probably is as surprised as anybody that this team has played as well as it has. The only loss, the shocker, up in Tulsa. Trey Bacon will kick it off for Texas A&M, and this will come down to Simmons. Across the 10 and out to the 12-yard line. So the Aggies will scrimmage with very poor field position to open the ball game. And let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups for Texas A&M. Bucky Richardson, everybody says without him this ball club probably would not be where they are. As far as the wide receivers, the leading receiver Tony Harrison, 19 receptions. He's got exceptional ability. And up front, very good offensive line, John Allisor, big strong lineman out of Kingwood, Texas, just north of Houston. Going to throw on first down, gets it out of the backfield, has Carter, his fullback. He will have the first down and takes it out across the 30. Now let's meet the starters on defense for TCU. They run a 4-3. Tunji Bolden, number 91. In fact, the Aggie coaches said this young man is as good as anybody they have seen in a while. He's out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Brad Smith will call his name a lot tonight, number 51. He plays at middle linebacking spot. And in the secondary, led by Tony Rand, the coaches say they are much improved. They have continued to come on. First carry of the night for Greg Hill. A freshman redshirt from here in the Fort Worth area. He's out of Dallas Carter, and the stop by Thomas Lewis. A little bit surprised that Lewis is able to go tonight. He's been suffering from a knee injury. But one of the defensive tackles that they have been working feverishly on, trying to get them ready for this ball game.
Well, A&M's going to pound away at the inside of both those defensive tackles because they have been hurt and haven't practiced.
2nd and 7, they run the option. Richardson, bump out of bounds. Anthony Hickman, one of the first men to get there, along with 44, Reggie Anderson. Well, opening drives, scored all 7 times, 4 touchdowns and 3 field goals. In fact, Mike, you have to go back to the month of November last year against Arkansas that A&M has scored every time they have opened a ball game.
That's an impressive statistic because you try to set the tempo in the opening drive. They're in a 3rd and 4 situation.
Carter and Hill are the setbacks. The line to make for A&M is the 40. Pitches it back to Hill. Turns the corner. He'll have the first down and brings it to the 44-yard line. And a flag is down at the 40.
Looked to me like a clip on that play, Ron. Looked like TCU was in pretty good shape to defend that. It's a holding call.
Joe Thomas, the referee tonight out of the Southwest Conference.
Holding, offense, still 3rd down.
So now Texas A&M, as the holding is called, and it has been moved back to the 30-yard line.
You're going to see Greg Hill get the option. There's the hold. It's on Tony Rand, number 1. Looked like he was going to try. He almost had the block beaten, and there's the hold. You'll see it coming up. There's the hold by number 32, Doug Carter. Just held him long enough to let the tailback Greg Hill get by.
So 3rd down and 10. Richardson rolls it, has it complete. Tony Harrison, the leading receiver for Texas A&M, the sophomore out of Houston to Forest Brook. Good for 12 yards. That's Hickman who pushes him out.
Full sprint A&M went to with Bucky Richardson. Got him outside the defensive end and through the deep comeback route to number 23, Tony Harrison, a 5'10", 170-pound southpaw. When you play against play-action quarterbacks and people like Bucky Richardson, they move around a lot, so it's very difficult to blitz Bucky Richardson.
Spins and hands it off to Carter, and the fullback will be hit at the line of scrimmage. That's Tunji Bolden. It will knock him back for a loss of a couple of yards. Mike, the difficult thing, one of the things that you talked to us today in the production meeting about is they've already shown option, they've already shown power, they've already shown the throwing game.
Well, they're mixing it up, and here you see the middle linebacker, number 51, Brad Smith. He's the player that has to make a lot of plays inside as the middle linebacker in the 4-3 because you can't block him. With flow, he should be able to go up and down the line of scrimmage and make tackles.
Richardson gets outside and he can run it. Inside the 45, and he's down to the 43-yard line of TCU. We talk about all the elements that A&M can throw at you, and there is still another one right there.
Bucky Richardson, just like I was talking about a little earlier, watch the middle linebackers. Here's a defensive tackle, Thomas Lewis, number 60, getting penetration, but all of a sudden when he gets inside, Bucky Richardson is outside contained. They're in man coverage, slips a tackle, and picks up good yardage.
Down to the short side of the field is 18 Brian Mitchell. At the top of the screen, you just went out of your picture, is Tony Harrison. Mitchell in motion. Hill dives forward. Maybe makes the 42-yard line, and that's Scott Hines, a senior out of Arlington, Texas. Just a short distance from here in Fort Worth, is there to make the defensive play.
One thing you want to do when you play the 4-3 defense, your down linemen, your two defensive tackles, you usually play one in the gap of the guard center and the other one outside the guard, but you want to get them up the field. If they get up the field, they can disrupt the blocking scheme of A&M.
First time we've seen this alignment by the Aggies tonight. Two tight ends, and they slot the one tight end short to the near side. Richardson pulls up and throws. It's going to be short, incomplete. Brian Mitchell is the man that he wanted. Boy, and watching these receivers as they warmed up here tonight, Mitchell has exceptional quickness and speed. You want to, I'm sure what the Aggies would like to do is hook him up on a short pass like that, then let him break a tackle and just watch him run.
Well, because that formation, you get your wide receiver Brian Mitchell in a one-on-one situation with Anthony Hickman, number 2, because you balance him up with the extra tight end in the ballgame.
It is third down. A&M needs the 33 of TCU. Richardson has it complete at the 28, and that's Harrison. Stopped at the 9.5-yard line by Evans, 31 yards.
Texas A&M broke out of their I formation, went to 2 split backs to get the running on the pattern. They have 5 players out in this route. This is Tony Harrison, number 23. Pretty good coverage, but he breaks, and Steve Reed, number 25, didn't close on the break, and that allowed the cushion that freed up Tony Harrison to make the catch.
First and goal, Texas A&M. The ball just outside the 9-yard line. Hill behind the block of Carter, takes it inside the 5, and he's down to the 4. Roosevelt Collins, a senior from Shreveport, comes up to make the stop for TCU.
TCU again got good penetration on the game, but watch Greg Hill, number 27, on this play. Here's good penetration by TCU, but Hill makes a good cut, avoids a tackle by number 60, Thomas Lewis, and picks up valuable yardage down to the 4.
12th play of the drive for Texas A&M. Hill tripped at the line of scrimmage. He will be knocked down, maybe a loss of 1 on the play.
The middle linebacker, Pat Conley, as I was talking about earlier, when you have a 4-3 middle linebacker, watch Pat Conley come in your screen, number 53, to make the play. He was able to get into the backfield of A&M, avoid the block of the offensive guard, get penetration. Brad Smith, 51, the middle linebacker, calling the defensive signals for the Horned Frogs.
Third down and goal to go. Richardson rolls it out under pressure. Gets away from the tackle. Now the ball is tipped and incomplete. Evans tipped it. That's Greg Evans, number 6. He's a sophomore out of Dangerfield, Texas.
Bucky Richardson avoided 2 tackles to even get the pass off. You see the formation, you pretty well know it's going to be a roll to the right, but the fullback, Doug Carter, missed the block. They brought the corner. Then you see a second missed tackle, and then the ball was able to be thrown. But now they put him in a field goal situation.
Venetoulias, Terry Venetoulias, number 1, comes out to attempt a field goal for Texas A&M. 22-yarder, and the Aggies keep the string alive. Opening drive, and they put points on the board. We'll take a break. A&M 3-0. Come back. Temperature is supposed to go down into the mid-20s here in Fort Worth tonight. Mike, I don't know if it's you or what. All of a sudden we've hit the streak of inclement or cold weather everywhere we go.
They have been cold for 10 days.
But the one thing we need to get a shot of sometime before this telecast is over is Coach Gottfried. As you look, it says 36, and never believe that. Believe me, is Mr. Gottfried has a pair of socks on his hands. Now, I don't know if it means he's going to walk on his hands or 70% the humidity and the wind gusting up to 20 miles an hour. Tullius, who is now 10 of 15 on field goals. He's done an outstanding job for Texas A&M. Look at this wind holding up that kick. Ball is fumbled. Live ball it is at the 21-yard line. Who's got it? Aggies say they have it. Joe Thomas trying to wade into that mass of humanity. TCU. Well, let's see what happened here, Mike.
Well, when you're facing a wind like this, you want to move your players up, but usually you want contact there to be talked. You want both these players to talk. You, me, you, me. They have to say that because when you're both going for the football, that's what's going to happen when you collide. Usually there's a call made by one of the upbacks to say, I'll take it or you take it.
Moulton and Ladd, or Jackson, I should say, are the two guys that collided. And as you could see, he almost knocked that ball away from him. Moulton did. So TCU dodges one as Matt Vogler opens at quarterback. He's a senior out of Tampa, Florida, and Texas A&M calls a timeout.
And Texas A&M has too many people, and they have the wrong personnel on the field. Number 56, Otis Neely's on the field, and they're going to bring a defensive back and substitute in for him tonight.
Well, let's take a look at the starters tonight for Texas Christian on offense. They will go with Matt Vogler. Shade has been the starter. Vogler is injured. He is still going to have to go for them tonight. The receivers, Kelly Blackwell, number 4 in the nation in receiving. He is the number 1 tight end. And up front, John Marsh is the steady guy from Santa Fe, Texas, number 62. And these guys have quite a task tonight, trying to keep this hard-charging Texas A&M defense off of their quarterback.
Ron, the problem that happened, Otis Neely's as a starter in every other game, but tonight, because there's 3 receivers and a running back in the game, Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, will put an extra defensive back in the football game.
13 plays on the drive by A&M, 79 yards. And on third down conversions, they were 2 of 3, and both of those were 10 yards or better. Vogler rolls the pocket. Flags are down, and they're gonna stop this one. So while we have a couple of seconds, here's Joe Thomas.
Dead ball, false start, offense, first down.
So let's set the defense for the Aggies. Man, we talked about off the top, Sam Adams. They thought he was going to be a good backup, and he has just barreled his way into the lineup as a starter. Watch for Buckley tonight, number 9. He's the leading sacker for Texas A&M, and TCU hopes they don't see him up close and personal tonight. If they do, it's a long evening. And Patrick Bates, he's a transfer from UCLA, and Mike, he's very big for a free safety. He looks more like a linebacker.
Big and strong in the middle.
6'4", almost 230 pounds, and a free safety. Vogler with nobody behind him. Ball is intercepted by A&M. Number 3, Derek Frazier, and he will score.
Number 3, Derek Frazier. It is intended for
Here's the set, the offensive set for TCU, the 3 receivers, and here's the man coverage that they're going to see all night. Watch number 3, Derek Frazier, step up, pick off the football for the interception and a touchdown, but the player who made that happen was number 9, Marcus Buckley.
Yeah, we were just talking about, we said that if TCU saw him up close and personal tonight, it could be a long evening. And with that, Frazier takes it into the end zone for 27 yards and the touchdown. Venetoulias with the extra point is up and good. So with 10:27 left in this opening quarter, Texas A&M 10 and TCU nothing. Triple header coming up here on ESPN this weekend. Mike and I will be a part of that as we head up to some beautiful country in Chapel Hill. to visit with head coach Mac Brown and his North Carolina Tar Heels. Have not done one of their games this year. And of course Kenny Hatfield and the Clemson Tigers, we did them and they were upset by Georgia on the Saturday night that we did them. Good ACC action. A triple header on Saturday. This is Anthony Hickman. And he will be covered up at the 30-yard line. Mike, let's go back and look at this interception one more time.
Watch the left tackle, number 70, Keith Wagner. He's up against number 9, Marcus Buckley. Watch the snap. Watch Marcus Buckley beat him on the pass rush, put the pressure on the quarterback, Mac Bolger. Bad throw. Number 3, Derek Frazier sitting there, picks it off for the touchdown.
Mike, he's got 5 career interceptions. This is his 3rd against TCU. He has played extremely well against the Horned Frogs. Straight ahead with the running play. That's Curtis Modkins, junior out of Marlin, Texas. I think this is going to be something to keep a close eye on tonight, and that is whether TCU can run the football on the Aggies.
Well, I think they have to run the football. I don't know if they're going to be successful because, I'll explain a little bit later, but A&M, because they have the good defensive backs, can play 7 people in the box. They keep their 2 linebackers in there. They have such strong defensive backs. The key matchup is Blackwell versus Cruz, number 6.
And number 13, Tim Shea, the redshirt freshman from Pekin, Illinois. He's in the ball game at quarterback. Has an injured right shoulder, but he throws the completion. That's Kelly Blackwell. First reception for Blackwell tonight. Let's go down to the sideline and get our first update from Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Guys, we just saw Kelly Blackwell make the first reception of the night for him. Now, he realizes how important he is to this TCU offense. For the game, I walked in the locker room. The entire TCU team was in one locker room, and Kelly Blackwell was all alone, way over in the corner in a separate room by himself, thinking about what he had to do tonight. A big game for senior tight end Kelly Blackwell. Back upstairs.
I'll tell you, he's a good one. Very strong. No backs in the backfield. Throws it complete over the middle. And I'll tell you, Quentin Coriat may have just sent McPherson to the sidelines. Kyle McPherson.
When you go to a no-back offense, now the linebackers can help on the pass because there's not a threat of anything but a quarterback draw. You're going to see number 44, Quentin Coriat. You're going to see now the running back, number 4, Kyle McPherson, catch the in route. Watch Coriat. He's going to look up the inside routes on every play. Now, he'll look up the short routes, Ron. Patrick Bates, the free safety, will be back another level looking for the crossing routes in the middle.
Mike, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's run it at real speed rather than slow motion and just see exactly what McPherson has just had to endure on this pass pattern. Here we go. Wow. You know, it's interesting. On that very play, I was talking with one of the TCU assistant coaches today, and I asked him, I said, because of that linebacker that they leave there and with the free safety, you know, that is a real cracking zone right there. And he said, I'm not sure we're going to run that pattern very much because I'm not sure our little guys can endure it.
Well, they may run it again, but I think the guy coming in is going to look. But what TCU has to do on their routes is they have to work the corner routes. The inside routes will come later, but they have to hit the corner routes to start out with because it's man-on-man coverage. And the best matchup is tight end Kelly Blackwell versus the strong safety Chris Crooms. Now watch A&M on the punt rush. A good punt rush football team.
Bacon to punt for TCU on the 4th down at the 36. Kicking with the wind, Kevin Smith. Tries to run away from it, touch the ball, and TCU will have it inside the 20-yard line. Oh, my goodness. You got a 10-0 lead, having everything your way, and you make that kind of mistake.
Indecision by Kevin Smith, number 26. Wasn't sure whether he wanted to field the ball or not. And Kelly Blackwell, the tight end that we've talked about, was right there to get the football. Now watch, he's just not sure. Tries to get away, it hits him in the arm. Kelly Blackwell very right on the football, makes the play. Here you see it again. Watch Kevin Smith, just not sure, now wants to get out of the way, but it hits his arm.
And as hard as he tries to wrestle it away, Blackwell, of all people, a fine receiver, was not about to put that ball back down on the ground. 48 yards in the punt, in the turnover, and the Horned Frogs with their deepest field position of the night. A&M shows blitz. Maybe 1 yard. Curtis Modkins spins it off to the left side. And Quentin Coriat, again, number 44. You know, Quentin looked like he was shaken up a little bit on that hit a moment ago on the sideline.
It was a good hit. And what happens now, defensive coach's mentality is, when now they have a big turnover, we have to be the aggressor. So they blitz both linebackers, Quentin Coriat, number 44, Jason Atkinson, number 43, on the last play.
As soon as this play is over, we'll go down to the sideline and try to get an update on McPherson, who took that bell ringer. Shade will dump it off and overthrows Cullors. Derek Cullors, a freshman right out of high school from Lake Highlands in Richardson, Texas. And it's going to bring up a third down situation. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry, what do you have for us?
Fellas, the news is not good for Kyle McPherson. The sophomore wide receiver was unconscious on the field a minute ago. I just talked to Ross Bailey, the trainer, and some of the doctors here on the sidelines working with him. He obviously has a concussion. He still is not really totally sure as to what's going on, and they are absolutely trying to work with him. He will not be back at all tonight. A tough break for TCU. Back upstairs.
McPherson, their speed receiver. The most important thing, though, is the youngster appears as though he is going to be okay, but boy, did he take a shot. Now Shade is going to have to call timeout. 25-second clock was about to get him, and so Tim turned around and said, I want to go to the sideline and talk with my head coach and offensive people. It is third down, about 10.5 yards for TCU, nobody behind Shade. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. The right tackle came out of his stance, Mike Black, as the Aggies came up to the line of scrimmage, and they were going to show pressure from the outside, and Mike Black went ahead and took a step back. So that's going to cost him 5 more.
Ball, false start, offense, still third down.
Watch right tackle 79, Mike Black. Because the rush is so far outside, he's trying to get a head start, and he just put his weight back a little bit and causes a 5-yard penalty. But looks like A&M is going to blitz TCU with no backs in the backfield. And so you've got man-for-man coverage. Get some time to throw it.
Shade back quickly, lobs it for the end zone, has his tight end, incomplete at the 3-yard line. Kelly Blackwell is the man that he wanted, and this means that Wilkinson will come on. Wilkinson, 10 of 18 on the year. His longest is 47.
Here's the one-on-one situation. Kelly Blackwell's going to run a corner route against Marlon Haynes. He's in pretty good shape. You see Haynes put his hands on him, but wasn't much of an effect on him. Kelly Blackwell is open, just overthrown by Tim Shade, number 13.
39-yard attempt, and he does have the wind to his back. It's Nowak, the backup tight end, who is his holder, number 82. It is blocked. In and out of the end zone, and the Aggies make amends for that big mistake with the touch and the fumble at the 16-yard line. They don't allow TCU even a yard. So let's take a break. Timeout on the field, 8:05 left opening quarter. Texas A&M 10-0. So we're back to action with 9:05. Let's make it 8:05. Clock is a little cold as well. 8:05 left to play in this opening quarter. Frazier and England give them credit for that block just a moment ago. Harrison. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch and get still another update on McPherson. What's the situation, Jerry?
Well, Kyle McPherson took one whale of a hit. He ran inside pass route and took a whale of a lick from Coriat. Actually, it was a forearm right in the face. He came to the sideline after receiving consciousness again. He was knocked out on the field. The doctors examined him. Obviously, he had a concussion. But just a minute ago, the doctors were able to put a glove on and put their hand inside the young man's mouth and feel, and he has a fractured mandible, a fractured jawbone from that forearm in the face. One whale of a lick there for the young man, the wide receiver from TCU. Back upstairs.
Okay, so Kyle McPherson in the locker room, having suffered that broken jaw. And as Mike mentioned, he is their lone speed guy. 4.42 is what he has been timed in the 40, and has got some distance grabs in the conference. 88 yards against Arkansas and also against Houston. But we have seen the last of him tonight, and that I would imagine that would be the end of his season too. Pitch comes to Hill. Hit at the line of scrimmage, and again the middle linebacker Smith along with Roosevelt Collins. But Brad Smith, the junior out of Houston, is the first man to get there and trip him up, and it's going to be a third down situation for A&M, and officially with the sticks across the way they show he loses one.
Watch middle linebacker Brad Smith, 51, scrape. No one can block him. The tackles are absorbing the blocks, and he just steps up and makes the play. Gets help from Reggie Anderson, number 44. Good penetration by the defensive line of TCU.
2 of 3 on third down conversions for the Aggies. Pass is caught at the 49-yard line, and I'll tell you, when A&M has a third down and 10 or better yards, Mike, they're perfect tonight.
Well, TCU looks to me like they're given too much of a cushion. I know that the A&M receivers have excellent speed, and they're giving them a good cushion. Watch, Bucky Richardson's going to throw the comeback route. He throws it before the break. He threw a perfect pass to number 23, Tony Harrison. Then you see Steve Reed, who comes out of his break and makes the play. Just a little bit too much of a cushion.
Harrison now 4 catches for 76 yards as the Aggies take out the fullback and again come with the 2 tight ends. Richardson 5 of 7 for 90 yards as they go with the running play, and Hill with that quick first step gets outside, cuts back against the grain, and I believe will have the first down at the 37. Brad Smith finally ran him down.
Well, when you bring in the extra tight end, you stretch another gap because now you replace a split end and you make them defend another gap. The defense, watch Greg Hill. You see the split of the tight end, and you see the tight end number 87, Jason Matthews, blocked down. Now the secondary has to come up and make the play on number 27, Greg Hill.
Hill now has 22 yards, Mike. He is 7 yards away from a record that is held by Earl Campbell for the most yards for a freshman. Richardson to his tight end Sharp. He takes it back against the grain, and it looks as though that's another A&M first down at the 27-yard line. That's 12.
Everything's going A&M's way now. Now they're to the one-back offense, which stretches the defense, but also gives you a good play-action set. Bucky Richardson with a fake to Greg Hill was able to come outside and find Greg Sharp, number 86, who blocked. Now watch Bucky Richardson. Fake to the right. Look at the flow of all the defensive players. Now Greg Sharp, who blocked down number 86, then released in the flat, makes the catch, works upfield, finally tackled by Tony Rand, number 1.
Richardson is 6 of 8 for 102 yards. Carter gets the handoff, and the fullback will weave his way to the 25. You can see 44, Reggie Anderson, the sophomore out of Austin LBJ, that linebacker on that side, comes over to make the hit.
Well, TCU spent this entire first quarter on defense. Watch the backside, number 75, Dexter Wesley pull. Good blocking, number 32. Now Doug Carter, fake, counter. Look at the blocking up inside, picks up good yardage.
10-0 if you've just joined us. 5 minutes 35 seconds left to play in this opening quarter. Texas A&M leads as Hill gets it, big opening. Ball is loose at the 4-yard line, and Hickman has recovered. Hickman will be hit by who else? Bucky Richardson, who does it all. Tony Rand, I believe, is the man who knocked the ball loose, and there was a marker at the 20-yard line.
Watch Greg Hill, 27. Get the ball in the little counter play. Look at him weave up inside. Now he's heading for the end zone. Tony Rand, number 1, just reaches in and pulls the football out. Number 2, Anthony Hickman, picks the football up. But to Tom Matty of Texas A&M, the former quarterback running back of the Baltimore Colts, number 7, Bucky Richardson makes the tackle. Watch ground level, the ball coming out. He just popped it out. He punched it out. Is what he did from behind. Good play by Tony Rand, number 1.
Well, Joe Thomas signaling personal foul. There's Bucky on the far sideline talking to his young running back.
Do you remember Tom Matty?
Oh, sure I do.
Oh, that's what Bucky Richardson has to do in the pros. He's going to be that kind of player, but I'm not sure he can't be. I mean, someday maybe we'll have the option in pro football.
Well, you know, I wish there was another term for it, but John David Crow was visiting with him just before the ball game, and you know, he just said the only way you can describe it, he said the guy is a winner. You're going to start 11 as far as putting a team together. You know, put number 7 on your club. Flag comes down from across the way as that running play to Modkins will maybe go for 1. Now let's take a look at the standings in the Southwest Conference. A&M perfect at 4-0. Arkansas and Texas with 1 defeat. Baylor 4-2. TCU 3-2, 6-2 overall. And they, you know, Jim Wacker's guys have gotten off to a good start, but in this one tonight, they're
It's Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator of A&M, to the left of R.C. Slocum.
So the 5-yard stepped off against the defense for offsides. So it's a first down and 20 or 18. Ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, very nearly intercepted as Teichelman, the sophomore out of Austin, 6'4", 240 pounds, got a hand up to knock it down.
They tried to set the old run and shoot screen up to the running back Derek Collins. Lance Teichelman, number 58, read it and was able to deflect the football. TCU has to have some success offensively in this series.
They come with a little counter play to the 25, the 27. It's Derek Cullors. And he will almost get it back to the original line of scrimmage as Grooms comes over to make the tackle.
Ron, here's the matchup I feel TCU has the best chance with tonight. Number 86, Kelly Blackwell, 6'2", 240, and he'll block on Chris Crooms, who's 184 pounds, who's going to play man-to-man on him. And that's where they have the best matchup tonight. One-on-one pass versus Crooms and Blackwell, and a one-on-one blocking situation on the run.
By the way, amidst all the excitement with the fumble and the recovery by TCU, on the run, Greg Hill did break the freshman record. We'll show you in just a moment. Ball is almost intercepted by Coriat as he was hit by Marcus Buckley, and Shade almost suffered a fate the same of Matt Vogler.
Well, you want bad news if you're a TCU fan. Watch the pass protection and watch the pressure that Buckley, number 9, gets again on the quarterback, Tim Shade. If you can rush the passer with 4 people, then you cover and you stop the run, and you're in trouble on offense.
Making with the punt. This was kind of a knuckler. Doesn't turn over at all as Smith will turn the corner at the 45, and A&M will have good field position at the 48-yard line.
And Smith with the return.
Well, on that run just a moment ago, when Hill fumbled and it was recovered by TCU, he still had enough yardage to break the freshman rushing record in the Southwest Conference, and there you see the numbers, 943. The all-time Southwest Conference freshman rushing leader. And that broke the old record, as we said, held by Texas Earl Campbell. Hill, as a flag comes down, that's thrown by the umpire. Could be a holding call against the Aggies. A&M up 10-0 with 4:23 left to play in this opening quarter. And that's going to be the call.
Fort Collins, Colorado last week.
They came down here to TCU, huh?
Same apparel on they had last week. Oh, we were treated great in Fort Collins, Colorado. It was a lot of fun out there.
Colorado tour last week. You see the rushing yardage, and we talked about we didn't know if TCU was going to be able to run against this tough Aggie defense, and so far they have not been able to. 62-8. Richardson under pressure, going to step up, gets a block from Carter, now throws, and at the 30-yard line, Ryan Matthews first person out to practice, and he came to the turf.
Well, Bucky Richardson checked off because the defense that TCU showed him, he was going to try to throw a quick pass, but after he looked around, saw number 25 Steve Reed commit himself, threw the ball over his head to Ryan Matthews, number 81, for a big play. You have to stay with the receivers in the secondary.
It could have been a lot bigger. Nobody knows it any more than Matthews. Hill cannot get away from Scott Hines, a senior out of Arlington, who spins him down at the 30-yard line.
I like the way the linebackers are playing. Mark Dove, the defensive coordinator, is getting good play out of his linebackers in the 4-3 defense. The run has not hurt them except for the big long run that Hill had where they caused the fumble. But I look for Texas A&M to come back and run more option because I think they'll have a little more success with the option against what TCU's doing on defense.
Play the pitch to Hill, and he did a great job of getting back to secure that one. Going to be tackled at the 24, but the biggest part of that play happened about 20 steps prior. That could have been a turnover.
Well, they're very fortunate that he didn't get a good pitch off, but they caused it. Roosevelt Collins came down hard to make him pitch the football. Bucky Richardson, you're going to see him come out, and he's just not ready to pitch. Number 48, Roosevelt Collins, a little indecision, but the great catch, as you mentioned, by Greg Hill, number 27. Number 6, Greg Evans makes the play, but if that's a good pitch, he might split that for a touchdown.
Yeah, he might have. Third down, and the Aggies need to 20. A&M is 3 of 4 on third down conversions. Richardson rolls the pocket, throws it in. It is caught at the 6-yard line by Matthews. Oh, my goodness. And he held on. Anthony Hickman almost took his head off.
Well, R.C. Slocum knows he was very fortunate on this play. Bucky Richardson going to roll to the right, and he chooses to throw the football to Ryan Matthews, number 81, on a corner route. Here you're going to see the ball thrown, and watch Anthony Hickman, number 2, come in to make the hit, and I'm not sure how Ryan Matthews held on to that football.
First and goal, Texas A&M. This is Hill. He cuts it back inside. We'll go inside the 5-yard line, and Patrick Connolly, junior out of Duncanville, playing at one of the linebacking spots there, knocks him to the turf.
TCU will try to gang up on the running game, which will make them a little bit weak against the option down here. Greg Hill, number 27, has impressed me. I know one thing. There's been a lot of good freshman running backs in this league.
Dickerson, James, Campbell. Richardson breaks off a tackle, and he scores.
Just like we said, when you get down the 3-yard line, the option is a very difficult play to stop because you're asking people to penetrate on defense. Watch Bucky Richardson. There's the fake. Here he comes out on the option. He has Greg Hill on the pitch. Just has him in a bind. Watch him stretch out. I don't believe he got it in there, but they gave him the touchdown.
Tulius knocks it home. And Texas A&M, who has been devastating in the first half against all of their opponents, Mike. They pushed this one out to 17-0 with 1:24 left in the opening quarter.
Do you think he was in on the score? Let me ask you. I know it's close, but I don't think he made it in. But Bucky Richardson with a great effort. Watch him on this. Here's the option fake. You see the TCU defense up inside. There's the play by number 53, Pat Conley. Watch Bucky Richardson alertly reach the football out to try to break the plane for the touchdown. Now you're going to see it from a different angle. Watch the ball where it hits. Just hits a little bit inside that line. But I'll tell you, a heady play by Bucky Richardson. Tom Matte, Rex Kern, there's another one. He went into the pros as a defensive back. He was an option quarterback. I'm looking for a spot for this young man. I'll tell you, I like him. I like the way he plays the game.
Hickman and Morey are back as you look at number 1, Terry Venatulius, who's been a very busy youngster in this first quarter of play. Again, the wind gets this one. It's going to come down short at the 25. That's Morey. And he will bring it out to the 30-yard line. coming up on Saturday. It's a football triple header here on ESPN. Tim Shade continues to go at quarterback. Pressure is on. It is caught and then incomplete. You're going to say at the 41-yard line.
Shade's pass is ruled incomplete.
David Lewis is the man that he wanted, and again it was number 9 Marcus Buckley who has caused all the problems tonight.
Ron, they're going to have to go to a different blocking scheme because this is a mismatch. Marcus Buckley versus the offensive tackle reminds me a lot, as you see number 9 come in, William Thomas, the out had last year. He's just too quick for an offensive tackle to block.
Shade is now 1 of 7 for 4 yards. He has missed his last 6. Nobody behind Tim. Pumps once, then gets it away and overthrown. Wanted the tight end, Blackwell, but he was double covered with still a third defensive back coming to help, and this time it was Quentin Coriat.
Well, Tim Shade must have heard what we're talking about, because he's going to bring Michael Jackson, number 27, back in at the top of your screen to block on Marcus Buckley, to give him a little help for a little more time to throw the football. That was Quentin Coriat, the linebacker, number 44, that finally got to Tim Shade. When you go to no backs, Ron, there's no doubt what you're doing. You're throwing the football. Either that or it's a quarterback draw.
Shade had an injured shoulder against Baylor, and it's his right shoulder, but he flew in practice all week. Coriat misses that tackle as Colors will bring it to the 35. Coriat came flying up and thought, whoop, I got me another victim. Not going to be enough for the first down. And it will be 4th down and 5. And so far, TCU has not been able to solve anything on that A&M defense.
If you're Jim Wacker, the toughest thing about this quarter with only 42 seconds to go is you've had to win pretty well at your back, and you haven't been able to throw the football. You're going to turn around and throw into it in the next quarter.
Kevin Smith is back deep as Beacon gets his punt away and just barely. And he gets knocked flat. Going to be roughing the kicker against Texas A&M. So in the first quarter, with 26 seconds left to play, the Aggies lead 17-0. And Mike, they have fumbled the ball twice over to TCU and now have run into the kicker. Good heavens, what would it be without the mistakes?
Here you see the punter. A&M is going to put pressure on. Come to a point. You ask your players, you always go to a point. You never go where the kicker's lined up. You always look on the film if he's a 3-step punter, which Trey Bacon, number 24, kicks on 3 steps. You find a spot, you put a towel there, and you practice all week to stop at that point.
Kicker, defense, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So let's go down to the field one more time and get an update from Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Fellas, closing in on the story on Kyle McPherson, the wide receiver you saw take that tremendous lick earlier. He was knocked out. We told you he had a fractured mandible or jawbone. I've been told just a few minutes ago they have called an oral surgeon, and the young man will go directly to surgery. He will be in the operating room probably before this game is over tonight. Tough break for that young wide receiver.
Boy, it really is. So McPherson, they're taking him to the hospital. That is going to be enough for the first down, by the way. That was running into the kicker rather than roughing.
Ron, with 26 seconds to go in the wind at your back, I'd try to put one up. I'd try to get a deep throw to try to get those DBs off of me.
Mike, that's the first down for TCU tonight. It comes by way of penalty. It's Watkins, number 28. Shade's going to run. He will come out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Tim is very big for a quarterback, and although he moves well, running is not his forte. It's 6'5", 220.
When you play a team like TCU that likes to go to no backs and 3 receivers and 1 back in the game, what you want to start out as a defensive plan is you want to eliminate something right off the bat. Eliminate the run. TCU cannot run the football. That forces them into a passing game. Now Texas A&M can play it a little bit stronger in the coverage area. They've eliminated the running game.
Drills this one incomplete. And again, wanted Kelly Blackwell, his tight end. And that ball just seemed to get away from Shade a little bit. That was Crooms who had the cover. Now the matchup that TCU would like to get. Crooms, is very good at what he does, and with Blackwell that's a good matchup. But there are situations where TCU can get Crooms out of the way and get a linebacker covering the tight end, and that's what the Horned Frogs would like.
That's exactly, and they'll get it on this play because they're going to move the running back outside the tight end. So if we're watching tight end here, you'll see it. As you can see the alignment right here, the tight end has a linebacker on him.
Shade running for his life, and it's incomplete. Lewis is the man that he wanted. It's going to be a 4th down and 5, and it was Eric England, who's a sophomore out of Sugar Land.
What TCU is going to have to do, Ron, is whether they want to run the football or not, they have to run the football just to make them respect it, and they have to throw some screens to try to get Buckley some pressure off of the rush that Marcus Buckley's putting on the quarterback.
So again, Bacon to kick. You look at Smith, who is back deep for the Aggies, and A&M's got the return on for him. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and he will take it to the 26-yard line. The clock has run out. Let's see if that is going to be the final play of this first quarter or not. Holding against Texas A&M.
See that a lot of times on the widest man on the punt team because they want to keep him from getting down, and if they can keep the outside man who's the contained man or the man who's trying to get down, if they can hold him up, they get a better return, and that's going to cause first down now for TCU.
Mike, I don't know if you want to hear this or not. I think it's snowing. Either that or it's rain, but it sure looks like.
What makes you think I'd want to hear that?
Well, I know you didn't, but
freezing up here. I'm
Billy Werndell, our spotter, just said he just pointed up and shook his head, and it sure does. It looks like a little snow falling here in Fort Worth. It is following us. This will not be. We'll have one more play in the quarter before they change. Nope, no, they're going to say that it is the final play of the quarter. So TCU now will work into the wind here in the second quarter. We'll take a break. At the end of the first 15, it's Texas A&M 17 and TCU nothing. As you can see, TCU is still going south, and as we had thought, they don't have to change it. One more play in this quarter before they will change directions. And they go with a running play, and that's Modkins. That is far and away the longest gainer on the ground for TCU tonight, down to the A&M 37. Now that will be the final play of the first quarter. And
that's what they have to do. They have to establish some type of running game, or they're going to run for their life throwing the football all night.
Dr. Jerry Punch has another update for us.
Fellas, I was watching defensive coordinator Mark Dove talk to his team a minute ago, and what he was telling them was exactly what Mike Godfrey was saying upstairs. They have got to be very careful and close on those receivers. They are playing way too soft in the secondary. Dustin Richardson is going to pick them apart. They're not very careful. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Jerry. You know, talking to R.C. Slocum and also to Jim Wacker, it causes quite a rush when you move a game up a couple of days. And R.C. said they spent a lot of time trying to figure which day was which as far as Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But it appears as though that he and his staff have done a superb job in preparing Texas A&M for tonight.
Well, I think they have the advantage, Ron, because they played Rice last week, and Rice runs a 3-receiver offense also. Even though they do different things, it's a chance. The one thing you want to make sure when you're playing a team that gives you something that you're not looking at every week is you want to get lined up. And A&M has not had a problem getting lined up tonight. They're playing good defense, and they're putting pressure on TCU. This is a big drive for TCU. They need to get points in this drive.
Blackwell and Nowak in the ball game on this alignment with 2 wide receivers. And they go with the running play. That's Colors, and he is going to be stacked up at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down TCU, and they still need the 34-yard line. Otis Neely is down at the bottom of that heap.
Well, you see Otis Neely come into game number 56. He's a starter, but because they're not only playing with 1 back and 3 receivers, he doesn't get to play tonight only if TCU goes with 2 tight ends. When they go to 2 tight ends, Otis Neely, number 56, gets to play. Now he goes back, puts his jacket on, waits for the 2nd tight end to come back in the game.
TCU, by the way, 0 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. So Coria faking the blitz. Shade rolls it, has it complete. Number 18, David Lewis, the junior out of Baltimore, makes the reception, and that is first down TCU, gain of 10. So the first time that they have converted on a third down situation tonight.
Well, Tim Shade made this play happen because he was on his drop of the quarterback. Nothing was open. Now watch Koriak, number 44, fake the blitz just to try to cause a lineman maybe to account for him. You're going to see Tim Shade move around, throw the football. Here he comes. Loss contained for A&M. Waits for David Lewis, number 18, to come open for the completion.
Modkins is the running back. 25-second clock is down to 4, down to 3. Shade has it complete at the 27-yard line. First reception for Shipley tonight. Shipley is an interesting one. He does not have the great speed, but a super possession receiver. He catches everything.
Forrest Gregg made the statement that he has the best hands he's seen since Raymond Berry, which is a heck of a statement. And I read a story where when he was 9, 10 years old, on Monday Night Football nights, he and his brother would put cushions on the floor and he'd dive and make catches. And he just made a nice catch for TCU.
Another former Horned Frog that he reminds me of is Mike Renfro, who played so long and so well for the Oilers and also the Cowboys. Michael was from here in Fort Worth. As you can see, the Horned Frogs jump off sides on that one. Okay, the Aggies are not going to give you a lot of opportunities, so you can't run around shooting yourself in the foot like this. We just had a report. We'll try to get an update from Jerry. John Marsh, the fine senior right guard from Santa Fe, Texas, has injured a leg and is out of the lineup.
You see Jim Wacker, when he came to TCU, he was a veer coach. He believed in the veer option, and he had won early in his career here at TCU, and now he's moved on. His coaches visited Miami and Washington State, Dennis Erickson, and has put in the Miami offense.
So with the penalty, it's going to be a second down. And TCU needs the ball at the 17. Sam Adams applying the pressure, and he will be sacked. Buckley got there first. And now here comes a late flag in. And Shade is getting up very slowly. And Mike, it looks as though he is babying that right shoulder, and it is. That's the shoulder that was injured in the Baylor game. He missed last week.
Ron, you're going to see the pressure again. Watch Marcus Buckley. There's pressure inside. You see the pressure that comes from number 95, Sam Adams, forces Tim Shade outside right to Marcus Buckley, number 9. Just reminds me of number 11 last year, William Thomas, the outstanding outside linebacker for A&M, played just the same way.
Joe Thomas's microphone is being affected by the weather. A face mask was called against Texas A&M, and the penalty will push it back just shy of the 20-yard line. So we have a second down TCU, and they still need the ball at about the 17. Now this means that number 14, Matt Vogler, comes back in.
Excuse me, 82 comes in as a tight end, Mike Nowak, and here comes our guy Otis Neely, number 56. And when they bring in Nowak, they bring in Neely.
Modkins whips around and calls timeout. That 25-second clock was down to nothing. Break. 12:27 left until halftime. It's the Aggies 17-0. Time is back in. Texas A&M 17-0, but TCU with a good drive going. And they go with the delay to Modkins, and he will step out of bounds. That's going to be short of the first down. Curtis is a junior from Marlin, Texas. Not real big. 5'10", 190 pounds.
You're going to see the block at number 86 down on the inside linebacker, even though he missed him. There's the kick-out block by number 55. David Breedlove, and that opened it up for them to get close to the first down. Chris Crooms, number 6, closed that play.
Third down for TCU. Third down and less than a yard. Breaks it open at the 10, at the 5. It's first and goal TCU. And Mike, I'm amazed that the play did as well as it did because it seemed as though everybody was out of sync, almost that someone had jumped before the snap.
Well, it was a counter play, and they caught Texas A&M in the 46 defense. You're going to see the ball be, it's a little counter play. You see the pulling guards. You see number 76, Boyd Milby pulling. See number 6, Chris Crooms getting too far upfield, and that's the match again. Chris Crooms, number 6, 184 pounds against Kelly Blackwell, 240 pounds. Watch Blackwell block down. There's the kick out block. See Crooms come up inside. Just a good run by Curtis Motkins. Patrick Bates made the play.
That's the longest play for TCU tonight. Motkins with a running play, and he scored.
Ron, this series of running the football, Jim Wacker knows now that will open up his passing game because that'll slow down the pass rush. That'll slow down the rush up inside. That'll force them into some different things defensively.
That's a 13-play drive by Texas Christian. Wilkinson will attempt the extra point. Number 22. Wilkinson's not only very good as a kicker, he's very good in the classroom. He is a 3.3 GPA student. Knocks it home. So the 12 minutes and 11 seconds left until halftime. Our new score, Texas A&M 17 and TCU 7. Left to play in the second quarter, 17-7. Texas A&M's lead is cut back to 10. This is Beacon who will kick it off. Biggins and Simmons, the dual safety for the Aggies. And this time, Mike, they have moved up because of that strong wind coming out of the north. And it's a very good move because Simmons is going to be right there for it and fumbles the football at the 17. Randy gets treated rather rudely before he makes the 20-yard line. That's Alex Molina. We didn't even know how much we were going to see Molina tonight as he has been bothered by a severely injured shoulder.
Here you're going to see the touchdown. Watch 86 Kelly Blackwell just turn out and block number 9 Marcus Buckley and open up the hole. Marcus Buckley working up the field. Now just an individual effort by Curtis Motkins to get in the end zone.
So Bucky Richardson and company got a long rest on the sideline with that 13-play TCU drive. This is Collins, the fullback. Carter, I beg your pardon. And let's check with Dr. Jerry Punch for an injury update. Jerry?
Well, fellow, things are looking up a little bit for TCU on the sidelines. John Marsh, the offensive guard, had an injured right ankle. He's been retaped. He will play some more. In fact, he made one of the key blocks on that score. And behind me, Tim Shade, the redshirt freshman quarterback, it was not a separated right shoulder. It was a trapezius injury. The big triangular muscle in the neck was bruised. He should go back in and play next offensive series. Back upstairs.
I never knew that muscle because I never had anything big around my neck anyway.
The trapezius. I learned that in Dr. Earl Bentley's kinesiology course from Morehead State University. You know that, right? Yes. Look for Bucky Richardson now with the wind at his back to try to throw something deep because the cushions now have closed a little bit. So I look for him to try to throw the ball down the field a little bit deeper.
And the TCU defense gathers rather tight at the line of scrimmage. He goes running play with Hill and being grabbed by number 60. That's Thomas Lewis, the junior from Beaumont. Lewis weren't sure if he was going to be able to play tonight because of a reoccurring knee injury, but he's out there with that patched up TCU defense. We sat in the meeting with Coach Wacker on Thursday afternoon, and when he said, guys, here's the situation. We started off back in August with 11 defensive tackles. Right now we've got 2, and both of them are not healthy.
He was trying to talk linebackers into playing defensive tackle this week.
TCU trying to show blitz, but they don't go with it. Quick pass. He's caught in the flat by Matthews. And let's check in with Chris Fowler. Chris, what do you have for us?
All right, thank you, Ron.
17-7 is our count as we're about to go under 10 minutes to play. Straight ahead as Carter gets the ball again. Doug's a junior, and he's from the Dallas area, Thomas Jefferson High School. Moulton is the man who grabbed a hold of him to knock him down.
Bob Toledo's the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M. He calls all the plays for R.C. Slocum. He played at San Francisco State under Vic Rowan, but he's really a good, sound offensive coach. Gives you a variety of things to defend in a ball game.
On first down, Richardson with the play action. He's going to go up on top and just overthrown. You know, I talked about Mitchell. Boy, watching him, he really gets up and down the field in a hurry. And he had his man beaten, but the ball was just a little too strong.
Well, Bucky Richardson knows with the wind at his back, he can go deep now, but he just put a little bit too much under it with this wind. He had Brian Mitchell wide open, but all that's going to do is increase his cushions a little bit so he can throw the outs. You have to challenge people downfield. You have to do it early in the ball game. Here's the play action fake to Greg Hill, number 27. Watch him just let it go. Here's Brian Mitchell running free. Just overthrew him.
That noise you heard was Hickman going, whoa. On 2nd and 10, flag goes down, and that's Hill. Boy, he gets ahead of steam quickly. Across the 50 to about the 48. Reggie Anderson will eventually make the stop, and let's come back to the line of scrimmage and see it is going to be offside against TCU.
Well, Mark Dove, the defensive coordinator, coached at Mississippi State under Emory Ballard, and that's where they get into this 4-3 defense, and Jim Wacker knows that he's playing pretty good defense, just making some mistakes, and you can't make mistakes against this offense of Texas A&M.
Look at these numbers in the Southwest Conference. First in total, first in rushing, first in scoring, and 7th in passing. But still, it's 155.3. You have to understand when you're in a league with Houston and TCU as much as they throw.
To me, the two most important stats there is first and rush. I believe in college football, any football, Pee Wee League, Biddy League, pro football, you have to be able to run the football.
It's the equalizer. It's what keeps the defense honest, right?
I think if you can run the football and play defense, I don't care where you're at, you can win. You can win. And Texas A&M has a ground game. All that does is open play action passes. Bucky Richardson on the option, quick passing game. Everything opens after you run the football.
Hill runs over his own man. Breaks it inside the 40 to the 36-yard line, and that'll be on every highlight video that A&M sends out next year, I can promise you.
Well, Dexter Wesley, the offensive tackle, 6'4", 275. He missed the first tackle on Greg Hill. Watch Greg Hill. Watch Dexter Wesley, number 75. He spins around, boom, there he gets. And he knocks him down. And then he works up the field for good yardage, avoids a couple other tackles. Dexter Wesley is going to say, what hit me?
I tell you, Dexter also is going to have to endure from his teammates when he sits down and looks at that video.
They'll run that back 25 times.
Richardson with the play action. He got his tight end wide open over the middle, and he elected to go to the sideline. Whoa, TCU blew the coverage because Sharp had just pulled up by himself deep over the middle. Bucky didn't see him in time.
RC, he missed a golden opportunity there for a touchdown pass because the tight end was open, but he went to the corner route, but he's just overthrown it with the wind. He's just putting too much on the football.
This is the 8th play of the drive coming up for Texas A&M. 9:17 to play until halftime. Texas A&M 17-7.
I'm surprised we haven't seen the option. They had so much success with it, but they're having success running inside, play action pass, quick passing game. And here comes the option.
There it is right there, Mike. The pitch to Hill. Oh, what a move to get away from 2 players, and then a nice open field stop by Hickman. It looked for the world he was going to be dead in the water at the 35, and he just danced away from him.
Jim Wacker told me the other day that Anthony Hickman, here watch the free safety, number 6, Greg Evans. Free safety has to make the play. He's working dive, quarterback, pitch. He missed it, but Anthony Hickman, number 2, made the tackle. Jim Wacker told me in 560 snaps, he's only missed 3 tackles. And he didn't miss that one on Greg Hill.
Started at the 19, and you can see that Texas A&M taking a lot of time off the clock. That ball is alive. That was away from the line of scrimmage, and TCU has made the recovery. A&M was about to run a trick play.
You know what I think they were going to do on that? Bucky Richardson threw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and they were going to throw back to Bucky Richardson down the corner. But the player who made the play was Reggie Anderson, number 44. He blitzed and knocked Bucky Richardson down.
Tony Rand, the sophomore from Aldine, makes the recovery for TCU.
Watch this play set up. It's a pass out to number 18, Brian Mitchell. Threw it behind him, and then he was going to catch the football and throw it back to Bucky Richardson. But number 1, Tony Rand, recovered the football because it was thrown behind. Big break for TCU.
3 turnovers for Texas A&M. I believe it because the fumble on the punt and then the fumble down at the goal line. That should be 3, I believe, guys. I guess the fumble on the punt was not considered a turnover. Shade threw the ball and very dangerously as he is going down, and Joe Thomas got knocked to the turf by Shade after he got thrown to the ground, or Vogler, I should say, number 14.
Was Sam Adams with pressure up inside, just whipped the block. Referee's going to ask what happened.
This is Joe Thomas who gets decked.
Watch Matt Vogler, number 14. Watch the pressure come from inside. Sam Adams, number 95. Just able to throw the ball, and then he met the referee after he was hit.
So Joe Thomas is being checked over.
Watch, here's the play. Sam Adams hits the quarterback. Joe Thomas is watching the play, and then he meets Mr. Vogler at the quarterback. A lot of hitting going on here tonight.
Well, Joe Thomas seems to be okay, trying to loosen up that left shoulder. Maybe Bengay time for him after the game.
May have to see the doctor. Dr. Punch. No backs in the backfield.
2nd down and 10, TCU. Pass overthrown. Wanted Shipley at around the 50-yard line.
Butler's pass is overthrown, intended for Shipley.
Buckley and Teichelman both coming with some heavy pressure on Matt Vogler, the senior out of Tampa.
Tim Wacker told us both the other day that he felt like A&M has the best secondary in America. He felt this was the best secondary he's seen since he's been at TCU. Really likes Patrick Bates, a 6'4" free safety transfer out of UCLA.
Vogler gets it away, and it is caught by Lewis, and he will take it to the 45-yard line. That's not going to be enough for the first down. It will be a 4th down for TCU. And Mike, right now, Texas A&M, even with this kick coming close to midfield, could get very good field position because the wind seems to have intensified even a little bit.
Well, I look for A&M to go after this kick because of wind. You're not going to get a return because the ball will hang out. So I'm sure they're probably thinking maybe hold up or try to block this kick.
Kevin Smith, who had the 71-yard beauty for a touchdown, he is back in a single safety. And this one he's not going to be able to get away. Let's go down to the field, and Dr. Jerry Punch is with a familiar face. Here's Gil Brandt with him.
Exactly, Ron. One of the pleasures of coming to Dallas-Fort Worth is being able to see some old friends in Gil Brandt. For 29 years, a player personnel director for the Dallas Cowboys, back in the glory days with Tex Schramm and Tom Landry. And Gil, you're very busy still today. You select the Playboy All-American team. How do you do that?
Well, Jerry, a fellow by the name of Gary Cole and myself sit down every year about the 1st of January, and for 3 months try to study all the reports and talk to coaches and come up with the 24 best players for a preseason All-American team.
Now, as a personnel director, a lot of speculation around the country that a lot of very talented juniors may come out this year and opt for the draft. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot of talented underclassmen. There's no doubt about it. On that Playboy All-American team, we had so it shows you how many there are. There's probably 25 or 30 of great caliber this year that could come out. Hopefully they'll stay in school, though.
Now, you don't approve of that. I say you don't like having underclassmen in the draft?
Well, I think it's better for them to stay in school for several reasons. Number one, I think that they gain the experience that's so necessary. Secondly, the top 5 players picked in the draft last year were 5-year players, and between them they received almost $14 million in signing bonuses. I don't think it would have been anywhere near that if they came out early.
Gil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jerry.
Gil Brandt here on the sidelines, back upstairs.
Thanks, Jerry. Always good to see Gil. Had a nice visit with him on Thursday, and Well, if you want to talk football and find out what's going on, not just locally but around the country, you push the button and it's there.
Well, Gil Brandt, Tex Schramm, and Tom Landry always made college coaches feel welcome in Dallas or anywhere else they were playing.
Hill now 16 carries for 85 yards as the Aggies with the first down. Breaks it open and will be stopped finally at the 49-yard line. You know, Mike, he's not that big at 5'11", 190 pounds, but he seems durable enough that, you know, this kid could run the ball 25, 30 times a game and be no worse for wear.
Oh, you're right. 5'11", 190, redshirt freshman. Watch the free safety, number 6. He sees the option now. He'll come to the left of your screen. He has to make the play in the alley. He misses that tackle, it's a touchdown. He's so valuable. What he has to be cautious of, coming up so quick that they'll run the post pattern behind him.
A&M takes out the tailback. Carter is the lone back behind Bucky Richardson. They go with the 2 tight ends. And Carter will go for one. Tony Rand is the first man who got there, and then Smith, the middle backer, came over and popped him pretty good.
You have to watch Texas A&M sometimes. They'll run a play into the short side of the field, and then they'll set up that play where the quarterback will just go over the ball and then flip it back to the offensive people or offensive running back who's behind the huddle. Sometimes you have to be aware of that as a defensive coordinator.
Offensive lineman. Richardson puts it up, tipped, and caught, and Harrison will score.
Touchdown, Texas A&M. Number 23. Touchdown number 55.
Well, that'll be recorded in the Dallas Morning News tomorrow as a touchdown pass, but that should have been an interception. Anthony Hickman, number 2, and Edward Galaviz, number 49, had that ball picked off, but number 23, Tony Harrison, just popped it up in the air and made the second catch on it.
Harrison now with 5 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. The Aggies go on top 23-7. But Atulius will knock this one home. So let's take a break. 5:41 remaining until halftime. And our new score, Texas A&M 24 at TCU 7. Triple header that you'll see this weekend here on ESPN. Mike and I will be in Chapel Hill for the matchup between North Carolina and Clemson. Harrison on the phone. 125 yards for him and a touchdown. Ball gets blown off the tee. I mentioned just a moment ago that it felt as though that the wind had even increased. There were lake wind advisories in Fort Worth today as the front came through. The winds were between 20 and 25 miles an hour, and it has maintained. But Richardson put a very nice touch on that ball with the wind just a moment ago.
Just use his hand to tip it and to guide it just enough to catch it in the air and to touchdown.
It's Kevin Smith, number 26, who will come up and hold the football for Venatulius. Mike Houston crosses the 20, and he'll bring it out to the 23-yard line.
Here's the touchdown. Bucky Richardson, number 7, with the wind in his back. Going to roll a little bit to the right. Quick pass. He's got the quick slant on. It's covered. So now he just moves to his right a little bit. Just hangs it up to Tony Harrison, number 23. There's the coverage. Good coverage. 2 players. Anthony Hickman, number 2. Galaviz, number 49. But 23, Tony Harrison, just tipped the ball. Watch him. Just tips it up. Catches it. Touchdown.
The Aggies will be assessed a personal foul.
Mike, you could see a late flag coming in after that return of the kickoff, and Joe Thomas has just called a personal foul against Texas A&M.
A lot of penalties in the first half.
Really has been a lot. Well, while we've got a couple of seconds, something that Jim Wacker wanted to make sure that we paid attention to tonight, and I don't blame him. I'd be terribly pleased. Before the ball game, the 1986 incoming freshman class was honored here tonight. 21 of 21 graduated out of that class. 100% is pretty doggone good. Hear a lot of bad things about college football sometimes. Maybe not enough of the good things like that. As Sam Adams steps up and knocks down the running back Modkins almost before he got the football.
Well, you might wonder why Texas A&M is all of a sudden ranked in the top 10 in the country and leading the Southwest Conference. When you have a freshman like Sam Adams, 6'4", 270, arrive on campus, it makes such a difference in your defense. It's very difficult to find defensive linemen, especially a freshman, to come in and start and play as well as he has.
He plays with, he commands a lot of respect. And there's an example of what we were talking about with Shipley. That ball was a little high behind him, and he still went up and brought it in.
Stephen Shipley, 6'5", 215 pounds. Watch him here, number 87. Watch the route. He's just going to go down and stop, now work inside. That's the same route McPherson ran early in the ballgame and was hurt on, but he caught it outside the hash. Tackle was made by Kerry Vincent.
24-7 our score. Just under 4.5 minutes to play until halftime. Texas A&M dominating this one. Nash, quick one over the middle. That's good to Blackwell, and he will be near midfield. And from where they're spotting it, it's going to be a first down, TCU.
This is a good play by TCU. They were able to take the tailback outside the tight end, Kelly Blackwell. A&M then ran a blitz and put a linebacker on Blackwell. Number 43, Jason Atkinson, was man-to-man on Kelly Blackwell, and it was a quick read by the quarterback to dump the ball to the tight end on the blitz. There's Atkinson, number 43, manned up on the tight end.
Draw play. Modkins cannot go anywhere. Number 6, that's Chris Kroons, comes over to make the hit on him after the pressure initially by Buckley. He almost knocked him down for a loss.
Well, Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator with A&M, now can tighten up the coverage a little bit on the TCU wide receivers, because the deep ball, it's not very, I just doubt that TCU will throw the ball deep in this series because of the wind disadvantage they have. So now you tighten up the defensive backs a little bit because you feel like TCU will tighten up their routes and throw a little shorter routes into the wind.
Again, here comes the pressure from the outside, and that quick in pass, that will be complete. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage as Cedric Dickens makes the reception.
They call their defense the wrecking crew. Bob Davie has done just a fabulous job with this defense. Played at Youngstown State University when Ray Dempsey was the head coach there, but Miami, Florida State, Clemson, 12 other university defensive staffs went down to study the A&M defense last spring.
6 of 12 rushes by TCU in this ballgame have gone for either no or negative yards. Vogler retreats, now gets it away, has a man open, and caught it out of bounds. Shipley waited as long as he could and knew if he went in the air, he for sure was going to be out of bounds. Again, it was Buckley who was coming after the quarterback, and for TCU, they'll have to punt it back.
Here you're going to see Matt Vogler, number 14. You see the pressure up inside, forces him outside again. Stephen Shipley lost the coverage, the man coverage of Derek Frazier, but just ran out of real estate and ran out of bounds.
That wind, I think, gave it a little bit of a push, and it kind of slid on Vogler.
Tough to throw deep when you're throwing into a wind like this.
It just went with the rotation.
Tough to kick into it, too.
This is going to take a huge TCU bounce. And Dr. Jerry Punch has another update for us. Jerry.
As you probably noticed, on the back of the Texas A&M helmets, on the back corner, they have a white decal with number 30 on it. That is in memory of James Glenn, a 19-year-old freshman walk-on kicker who collapsed and died on September 25th during a practice down in State College Station, Texas. Now, he had punted, walked in and punted, actually kicked off at the Tulsa game the week before. And some of Glenn's friends told R.C. Slocum it was a memory he would never forget. The young man collapsing in practice at Texas A&M on September 25th, the Wednesday after the Tulsa game, and he is not forgotten. His colleagues wearing that number on their helmet here tonight. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Jerry. Ken McAfee has come into the ballgame, replacing Greg Hill at tailback. Keith is a senior out of Sugarland Willow Ridge, a high school that sends a lot of kids into the colleges. 6'1", 200 pounds. He's a senior. A&M has got not only good frontliners, Mike, but Randy Simmons was one of the most sought-after running backs in the state of Texas, and he's playing behind Carter. Here's McAfee, who is very highly sought after, and he is in a backup role as well. Short drop, and it's there. One man to beat, and the tackle is made at the 47-yard line, and that one came close to going for the distance as Matthews caught it, and he had single coverage.
Well, you notice what Bucky Richardson, he's making a cross with his hands. He's giving a hand signal to his wide receivers, and he checks off to a quick passing game. But here what happens is the corner rolls up. Ryan Matthews, number 81. Watch, he's going to throw the quick game. Now he just waits for Ryan Matthews to work up the field beyond the corner for the pass to make the catch. Rico Wesley on the coverage.
Now for Richardson, 11 of 15, 237 yards and a touchdown. And he's going to go up top again. Has it complete, and again, it's number 81, Ryan Matthews. Matthews, a redshirt freshman out of Houston Lamar.
Well, the problem that TCU has on defense right now is that they're having a tough time stopping the running game. So now you give such a cushion on the outside. Now Bucky Richardson fakes the running game to the tailback, Keith McAfee, then throws the corner route, number 81. You see how open he is, Ryan Matthews, 81. It's a one-on-one coverage. They're getting great cushion from the defensive backs. They just have to tighten the cushions.
Option play against the grain. He'll have 5 around the 27. Anderson defensively.
Have you ever been any higher in the booth than this?
No, this one is about as high as you find in the country. Memphis Memorial Stadium, Liberty Bowl Stadium is pretty high, but they say this one is 8 stories. But Mike, I'm on the 6th story at the hotel that we're staying in, and I'll tell you what, if this is 2 stories higher, it's up there, isn't it? Randy Simmons, who was in the ball game, the youngster I was talking about a moment ago, the senior out of McKinney, is the ball carrier. And there is our position. And as they pull back, you can see, folks, that's the upper deck right there. And then you come down to the lower deck. And Mr. Godfrey is not exaggerating. He is terrified of heights. Brought him up here yesterday, and I thought we were going to have to get straps for the chair to put him in.
A little nervous, a little nervous.
Richardson, he got a man open for a moment, then got covered up. He's just going to throw this one away. Matthews had broken clear in the end zone, but by the time that Richardson saw him, realizing he was going to be late with the pass, it was Thomas Lewis who was putting on pressure. 101, 61 seconds left until halftime. Look at these numbers on Bucky Richardson. 12 of 17, 259, 1 touchdown. Second Thursday in a row that we've had the quarterback kind of put on a clinic. Last week it was Detmer.
Interesting statistic on Bucky Richardson in his 2 bowl games, that he was the most valuable player over 2 Heisman Trophy winners.
Second down. Drills it, has it complete, and touchdown Brian Mitchell.
What a catch by Brian Mitchell. Well thrown ball by Bucky Richardson. Brian Mitchell went down about 12 yards and ran a curl route. You're going to see it here. Here's Bucky Richardson. Good pass protection up inside. You see the tight end, number 86, Sharp over the middle. There's the curl route. Then he keeps his balance, uses his left hand as a guide, and twirls around and gets himself in the end zone for the touchdown.
Tullius has been extremely busy in this first half. And he gets another one. So with 54 seconds left until halftime, the Texas Aggies are just about anything they want to dial up. They are getting it done. 31-7, they lead over TCU. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going back to our studios. Chris Fowler and Lee Corso. Here's another look at the the touchdown a moment ago. Super agility after the catch on this play.
Watch him use his left hand to just balance himself so he can get in the end zone.
R.C. Slocum. Anytime that you can put 31 on the board in the first half, the head coach is going to get excited, and that's how R.C. is right now.
R.C. will head for the heater at halftime. He doesn't have to worry about meeting with the coaches right at that point. He'll just go in, get himself a hot dog, get a little bit heat on him, and then try to get the last second talk with the team before they come out in the second half.
Another thing that the Aggies wanted to make sure they could do tonight, and that is get some playing time for Granger. And it would certainly appear with this kind of lead that will come true. This is Morey. Good coverage downfield. He's going to be tripped up. Barely will make it to the 15-yard line. That's Graham. Graham on the special teams gets down very quickly to make the stop.
Everything is going Texas A&M's way. Here you see the return. Watch number 38, Graham. Bang, making that tackle. Came from the left side, untouched.
Alvin Lundblad, our crack statistician, has just handed me a number, which is a record number. Richardson, career high, 278 yards. He's now 13 of 18 and 2 touchdowns. Curtis Modkins got Coriat almost as quickly as he got the football, and then is just covered up in white. Also, Buckley was right there.
Faced with the wind in their direction, best thing they can do right now is run the clock out, go in, try to make some changes at halftime. And when you have the wind, you've got to take advantage of that. The 1 quarter you have, that's when you throw the ball and pump it upfield as much as you can. It's Greg Madison, the defensive line coach, to the right of R.C. Slocum.
This is Modkins, who was the ball carrier just a moment ago. Well, these were the numbers we were referring to about the Aggies having outscored their opponents 190-27 in the first half in 1991. Well, Modkins undoubtedly is injured severely because now they have called for a stretcher from the near sideline, and they're getting the pull cart. So let's take a break. 32 seconds left until halftime. A&M 31-7. There he goes into the stack right there, and then what happens underneath there, it's very hard to tell. But he is being wheeled off the field right now and taken to the locker room.
Looked like he tried to balance himself and tried to keep and tried to stay up, and it looked like so much weight. You see, watch the number of players that come on top.
Now here's a shot of Curtis being rolled off the field with the air cast on his right leg. So try to get an update after halftime from Dr. Jerry Punch on him. Probably is going to be the last play of the first half. Nope. As soon as I say that, Colors comes out of bounds and will stop the clock.
I think this TCU team, they've sustained a couple injuries tonight, a couple bad injuries, and but they're a ball club that's still very much alive in the bowl picture. When you have 6 wins at this stage, you're still alive. I think the bowl people would take a look at them. They still play Texas, and they still have Houston, so they have a shot of winning another football game or 2. And but they're a team that I think went into the chance still to go to the bowl game.
This probably will be the last play as they go straight ahead with Colors on the ground, and unless the Aggies call a timeout, and they just have, they have stopped the clock with 6 seconds left, and an opportunity for us to remind you that coming up at halftime, Lee Corso and Chris Fowler, and they will have more from the studio on the Magic Johnson story in the first half against their opponents this year.
A&M's even going to put anybody back. They're strictly going after this punt to try to block it, try to get some points.
Making with 4 kicks for 38 yards, and this one, Mike is right. It will just roll free, and that will be the end of the first half. So it's halftime at Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas, with Texas A&M on top, 31-7. Texas 31-7 our score at halftime, with Texas A&M leading over TCU. And let's take a look at the first half stats. A very telling story here, Mike. 419 total yards A&M, 88 TCU.
Well, it's just been a mismatch in the first half, but I look for TCU to come out in the second half and try to establish a little bit of run game, and they're going to be going into the wind again, so A&M is kicking with the wind, so the advantage goes to A&M in field position.
We have just received what is even more bad news for TCU. We talked about how injured they were off the top of the telecast. Well, Kelly Blackwell, who was the #4 receiver in the nation and leader as far as tight ends in receptions, is not only lost for tonight, they think he's lost for the remainder of the year. Separated the ribs from rib cartilage. This is going to be Mike Houston. And he's out to the 24-yard line. Mills, one of those downfield helping out, number 12 on the 12th man squad. Antonio Shorter also was there.
Ron, at this time of year, you're never the same kind of football team because injuries just cut into you so much. Texas A&M's been fortunate. They went through the season relatively injury-free. TCU, on the other hand, has suffered a lot of injuries this year. Jim Wacker and his staff are to be complimented for keeping his team competitive with all the injuries he's had, and then to sustain some more tonight.
I'll tell you what is a surprise is Modkins, who was injured in the first half, is back in the lineup, and in fact that is Modkins who carries the football. And to get a full update on the injuries, let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Guys, I just came from the training room, and update you first on Modkins. They thought he had a broken leg, which is what you reported at halftime. In fact, Modkins told the trainer, it's my bone. My bone's broken. They went in the training room, examined his right leg at the distal part of the fibula, the small bone in the lower leg, and it's okay. Now, Blackwell has been taken over to the care center for an x-ray of his chest. I think he may have separated the cartilage which connects his ribs to the sternum. He was having some trouble breathing and took him over for an x-rays. We have no report as of yet. Back upstairs.
All right, Jerry. This has been a busy night for Jerry. And in the opening of the show tonight, he was down in the training room and talking about how many kids TCU has lost. Mike, you know, I'm sure as coaches you ask yourself the question. Sometimes some seasons are worse than others, but you can't really put a finger on it, can you?
No, you can't, because sometimes you're fortunate, but the turf again, I think has so much effect on the game and on the injuries.
Vogler gets it away and nobody home. That will bring up a 4th down as Adams and Buckley both coming with the pressure, and now Vogler is down.
It's a tough night for TCU to this point. They just nothing's gone right for them. They've sustained so many injuries, and Jim Wacker, I know how frustrating it is to be on a sideline when things just seem to be just going wrong. He's done such a nice job here, Ronnie, keeping the program and keep trying to improve his situation. And as I said at the start of the show, I really believe they're still in position for a bowl game. And that's a credit to he and the staff.
Stephen Shipley is looking in with the trainers, and they're signaling to the sideline. It's hard to tell. What are they asking for, Mike? Could you tell?
No. I see the team doctor.
The team doctor had already been up in the tunnel. He had been back up in the room checking over somebody else, and now they had to get him back down.
Cowboy hat on. That's Steve Brotherton. He's the orthopedic surgeon who works with TCU. I just in the locker room a minute ago talking with him about some of the injuries, and he was telling me that possibly Tim Shade would not be able to come back out and play, and now they have lost Matt Vogler. They put Vogler on the stretcher, and they will carry him in. He'll be taken to the University Health Center, which is about 2 blocks away, for x-rays of that knee. I'll go in and see what I can find out about that young man, and obviously they have no quarterbacks left, guys. It's a little bit of a quandary here as to who's going to run the offense for TCU. Back upstairs.
Now Bacon will get this punt away into the wind. Spiral being held up by the wind, and a fair catch called for by Kevin Smith at the 41-yard line. So here are the people that are out of the game for TCU tonight. And coming in, as we mentioned, they were so banged up. But Kyle McPherson, broken jaw. He's gone for the year. Tim Shade has re-injured his shoulder. Kelly Blackwell, their very fine tight end, rib damage to him. He may be lost for the rest of the year. And now Vogler. Flags come down as movement by the defense. And Greg Hill will be caught from behind and tackled at the 45-yard line. That's Roosevelt Collins. Got outside to make the stop. Take a look at pass distribution, Mike, in that first half for Bucky Richardson.
Well, Bucky Richardson, as you can see, he sprayed the ball all over. Didn't throw as much deep tonight as he would in a regular ball game, but you can see what he threw underneath coverages and the yardage he was able to accumulate. He's had an excellent first half.
Ball just outside the 46-yard line.
Bucky, a senior out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is Carter, the big fullback, and he will take it for a couple. Royal West, number 97, along with Thomas Lewis. They're making the hit.
The interesting thing is both these teams have young football teams with a lot of players coming back next year. And I think that's a credit because most of the players are from Texas, the outstanding high school coaching in Texas. Of all the clinics they have all around the country, Texas clinics are the most attended. The coaching here, the high school coaching, they just do such a fine job.
On second down, it's Hill with the carry, and he will have the first down, or very close to it. And I'll show you what he has done tonight, in case you missed part of the first half. A new record for a freshman. You
can see that most of the yardage he received was on the left side. He had 10 carries on the left side, 7 to the right side. But Greg Hill can run the ball inside on the power play and the sprint draw, and he's also a threat with Bucky Richardson on the option of being able to get the ball outside contained.
And the record that he broke was that one held by Earl Campbell of Texas as the most yards for a freshman. And of course, now to be able to go over 1,000 yards would truly be an outstanding feat, because as Mike pointed out in that first half, the Southwest Conference has had some great running backs over the years, and this young fella has come right in and taken up where many of the great ones left off. You know, I was told by Alan Cannon, the sports information director, that John David Crow has the Heisman Trophy up close to his office, and that every time Greg walks by there, he rubs it and just kind of looks and smiles. He wants to touch it. He's now over 100 yards for the game tonight, or at 100, as Carter gets carried. He'll bang it down to the 44.
Well, you go back to the youth we were talking about, the fine high school coaching in the state of Texas and throughout the country that the high school coaches do. But I think when you look at this young football team at A&M, you have to look at R.C. Slocum's staff, not only being a staff that can coach the game, but also can recruit. Every year they seem to bring in quality players.
Well, you know, the Aggies not only have served notice with the way they played this year, but when you look at the offensive line, there are only 2 seniors on that, and 1 starts. Pass incomplete. That's probably the worst one that Richardson has thrown tonight. And he got turned to flip after he delivered it. 31-7, Texas A&M leads. Just under 12 minutes to play, third quarter. Saturday night, we will be in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Clemson against the Tar Heels. That will be the 3rd game of a triple header on Saturday here on ESPN. Richardson gets a good comeback block. Pass is thrown complete at the 30-yard line. That's Tony Harrison. That's a 6th reception for Harrison in the ball game. Of course, he had that tip for the touchdown, his 5th catch in the first half.
Well, they rolled Bucky Richardson to the left. Number 23, Tony Harrison, with a comeback pattern. Again, a pretty good cushion given to him. What you have on this route, you've got an inside receiver that you can't see who's working up the field. There you see Tony Harrison, number 23, with the stop route. He came back, stood on the sidelines. Bucky Richardson found him for the big gain.
6 catches, Harrison, 148 yards. Boy, look at the first down. Carter tries to hurdle at the line of scrimmage. There's not anything there this time. You can see Tunji Bolden, number 91, the junior out of Ann Arbor, who steps up to make the hit.
I'm going to go back on TCU's schedule. I mean, they're 6-2. Had Arkansas, in a pretty good ball game. They're ahead
21-0. I remember we mentioned that score on the air and thought that they were pretty close to a victory, but it didn't happen.
That shows you the quality at A&M, because I think TCU is a pretty good football team. They played well all season, and now banged up at this point, they just can't hold up against A&M.
To the 15-yard line, and Hickman had to save a touchdown. Doug Carter with a really good block in this play, as you'll see on the replay.
But when you run the toss sweep, this is the sweep that Southern Cal made so famous with their tailback U. Here's the toss play to Greg Hill. Now watch number 32 that Ron was talking about. Doug Carter kick out block, and you're going to see number 6 come into the play along with Greg Evans, number 6, along with Anthony Hickman, number 2, holding Greg Hill from scoring a touchdown.
Hill again as a marker comes down. That could be offensive holding. Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried and Dr. Jerry Punch. Glad to have you along from Fort Worth, Texas, at a very chilly and breezy night. Amon G. Carter Stadium, where the West began. That's what the folks in this part of the world say. Stockyards not too far from here. A lot of history of the Old West right here in Fort Worth, Texas.
You know what I enjoyed this week was the country music that we heard while we were watching practice. Now, folks, we watched practice for 3 days and stood out here, and Jim Wacker lets his team enjoy it. He has Vince Gill and Garth Brooks and songs like Here's a Quarter, Call Somebody That Cares, and I really enjoyed listening to the music, watching practice.
You made an interesting comment, Godfrey, that the Texas country western music is a little different from some other that you hear. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Evans. At the 35 and across the 40-yard line. 4 turnovers against the Aggies, and you look at the scoreboard and say, wow, and they're still leading 31-7. 38 yards on the return.
Greg Evans not only has to be a run support guy, he has to read play action pass. You see him go back and cover the tight end. Bucky Richardson didn't see him. Now look at the return that he gets. He's trying to get number 1 ahead of him. Tony ran to go cause a block for him, but there you see number 7. I still think he might be a linebacker. He was waiting to make that tackle, but
he made one earlier.
Probably the biggest mistake he's made tonight. The only mistake that Bucky Richardson's made tonight. Nice interception.
Darren Schultz, the junior from Euless Trinity, in the ball game at quarterback. Boy, there is nothing there. Another flag comes down. Quentin Coriat, number 44, makes the tackle.
Well, it's the same toss sweep that A&M just had success with on the other end, but Quentin Coriat ran through it. When the guard pulled, he ran right behind him and made the play.
Well, TCU lost 3 yards in the play, but they're going to gain it back because of the offsides.
Defense, first down.
We think that is Vogler, but we'll get an update. Being taken to the Student Health Center, which, as Jerry talked about, was only a couple of blocks away from here. Derek Cullors comes in the game at running back. He takes it off the right side and will take it to midfield.
We had the Notre Dame game a couple weeks ago against Air Force when a couple of their players were injured, and I made the comment during the game that Lou Holtz had his mind was on the ball game, but yet when he had his 2 players hurt, you know, you just constantly as a coach you think about the players because you know how much effort they've given to get to this point, and to see somebody hurt like we just saw, just really bothers you as a coach. And I know it bothers Wacker down here. You just can't clear your mind. You're just so concerned about the player that's injured.
Fumbled the snap, and he gets back on it. And let's go back to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Unfortunately, gentlemen, that was Matt Vogler. They were loading the ambulance a minute to go up in the end zone. Now, what I've been told by the training staff is Vogler was standing on his left leg when he rotated in that last play. He felt something give. He went to the ground. They went out and checked. His leg was rotated externally. That means one of 2 things. Either he has a hip disarticulation or possibly dislocation, or he has a fracture involving the femur, the big bone in the leg. We're taking him over for x-rays right now. We'll let you know what they find out in a few minutes. Back upstairs.
Okay, Jerry. On third down. Flag comes down. Schultz running for his life, and oh my goodness, he gets sandwiched between three people.
We have a penalty flag on the play. He's brought down.
Jason Atkinson, I believe, is the first man that got there. Then Crooms came over, and it's going to be holding against TCU.
I'll tell you where it looked like the holding occurred on Marcus Buckley, number 9. He watched Marcus Buckley get up the football field on the tight end, Mike Nowak, number 82. See him go inside. Now look at him. He just actually tackles him to try to keep him from getting to the quarterback.
When you've already sent 2 quarterbacks out of the ball game, you know, that's not a bad penalty, Mike.
I tell you, Marcus Buckley really has shown a lot of speed on the outside. So what TCU now is trying to do, the tackles couldn't control Marcus Buckley, so they're keeping a tight end in to try to block him. Send one less receiver out, but that's how much respect they have for number 9, the 6'4", 225-pound junior, Marcus Buckley.
But it's not going to hold Sam Adams for long, and that is the 3rd sack tonight.
It's that freshman again, Sam Adams, 6'4", 270 pounds. He read the waggle all the way. Now that's a freshman, folks, right there, number 95. 6'4", 270 pounds. Watch him. Now here comes Buckley from the outside also. You see the block by number 55, David Breedlove, but you're going to see Sam Adams on the back of the quarterback, Darren Schultz, number 19.
This punt, very, very short. It hit off his instep. It looked as though A&M has to run to get away from the football to keep from coming up with a touch and a TCU turnover. Let's take a break. 7:02 left in the 3rd. Richardson, 14 of 21, 1 interception, 295 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is Carter on the delay. Alex Molina comes up to make the stop for TCU.
I think what you'll see in this drive is Bucky Richardson. I would believe R.C. Slocum would just try to run the football now. He didn't like to see Bucky Richardson have that turnover in the last series of plays, and he wants this. I believe this will be his last quarter, even if he gets through it, and just try to run the football at TCU, run the clock, and then get his second-team quarterback, Jeff Green, number 10.
Richardson gets it away, and Carter can't make the catch. Let's go back down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Fellas, some good news for a change for TCU. Kelly Blackwell's injury report, the x-rays were negative over at the infirmary. He does not have a broken rib, just some bruised cartilage. He'll be sore for a while, but he should be able to come back. Now, I'm with Leon Clay here, another quarterback. He's the starting quarterback for TCU this year, a junior co-captain. Leon, you went down against Ball State with a broken right leg, or left leg, I should say. When will you be able to come back? Will you be able back at all this year?
Probably not this year. Probably starting next June, I start running again.
It's been a tough year for TCU quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's been real tough. I hope it only gets better, though.
You've got a year left, so you got one more chance at the Aggies.
Right, just one more chance. I'm going to try to make that one count.
Leon Clay here, out injured as the Aggies complete it here upfield, back upstairs.
Here that pass completed to Brian Mitchell. Yeah, Leon Clay is a fine quarterback. Mike and I were talking to practice the other day. Although Shade and Vogler have done a good job, but they sorely missed him.
You're going to see Bucky Richardson with a lot of time. Here's a little pressure coming from the defensive front. But you see how much time he has, and he just rolls out. Number 18, Brian Mitchell, just moves with him. When a quarterback moves, the receivers need to move with him to try to get open.
Carter, huge opening. Has 5, has 10, counted off at 14. That was Evans that he just put a head down and tried to run over.
Watch this hold from back home. Watch Bucky Richardson with the give. Watch it open up inside. They get the block on the middle linebacker, number 51, Brad Smith. Number 6, Greg Evans, eventually makes the tackle in the secondary on Doug Carter. just really opened it up because they were able to get the center, Chris Dawson, on the middle linebacker. This is where he usually checks to the quick pass. That's the signal he's been given.
Five-step this time, has a man wide open, and he just got it over his hands. That was Mitchell. That's twice in the ballgame that Mitchell has gotten behind the receiver, and Bucky has been a little too strong with the pass.
On the quick pass, the outside receiver ran the quick route. The inside receiver, Brian Mitchell, ran the corner route, but there was a little pressure from number 51, Brad Smith, the middle linebacker. You're going to see Bucky Richardson. He checks off. Because of the blitz, they brought the corner. Number 1, Tony Rand, the strong safety, and he just overthrew Brian Mitchell.
New career high, 309 yards for Bucky Richardson. Carter in the counter there, number 44, Reggie Anderson catches him from behind. And it'll bring up a third down, and for the Aggies, they need the 7-yard line. 5 minutes and 10 seconds in the third quarter. Texas A&M 31-7, and the Aggies are driving again.
There you see Jeff Granger, number 10, giving the signals in. He'll be in here before long. Probably next quarter.
He is not only a good quarterback, he is an excellent pitcher.
Usually you find that quarterbacks. Usually most of them are baseball pitchers. The guy that takes all the shots in basketball.
Richardson going to run, gets it away and completes it at the 3-yard line, and it's Brian Mitchell who made the reception. As Richardson had the presence of mind to hold up, he was very close to being across the line of scrimmage, but he held up just long enough to make the completion.
There you see Jeff Granger, the quarterback who's signaling into plays. Bob Toledo, right to the right of R.C. Slocum, gives him the play. He signals it in. Here you see Bucky Richard. Most of his completions tonight have been on scrambles. Here you see him move out of the pocket on the run, throws the ball complete to Brian Mitchell. Very accurate on the move.
McAfee, you could hear that pop at the line of scrimmage is Roosevelt Collins and also Reggie Anderson, number 44, coming up to combine on the stop.
Talked to some pro scouts about Roosevelt Collins, a senior, 250-pound senior defensive end, number 48. They feel he's a prospect. Last year in the blue-gray game, the defensive back Larry Brown at TCU was the most valuable player. The Cowboys kept coming back, watching. Ron Marcinek, the scout. They drafted him in the 12th round. He started the last 3 games for the Cowboys in the secondary.
Gross, number 31, checks into the lineup as the ball is fumbled. And I believe Richardson got on the fumble. As you look at R.C. Slocum, Mike, I'm sure that of all the things, and so many good things have happened to this football team this year in particular, they continue to build momentum. The one thing I'm sure that he wants them to get out of the repertoire, and that's the turnovers.
I think what probably is going through his mind is short week. We're sloppy. We didn't get as much game preparation. We're seeing different things in this offense that we've seen, and I think that's the effect that the short week has had on his football team.
Richardson on the option, and he put it on the ground, and he scored. Yes, touchdown, Texas A&M.
I think you've seen the end of Bucky Richardson tonight. I would expect another nice option play by Bucky Richardson. Here's the fake to the fullback. He steps inside. You saw the defender go to the pitch. You see the middle linebacker, Brad Smith, make the tackle. Watch him stretch out, just trying to break the plane. And I believe he made it this time. Here's the fake. Now watch the defender taking the pitch. You have to have somebody in the pitch. Here's the number 51, Brad Smith, middle linebacker. Just can't make the play. Touchdown.
And it's a fake. And they throw for 2 points in the end zone, incomplete. Jason Matthews is who they were looking for in the end zone. So let's take a break. 2:59 left in the third. A&M 37-7. As Texas A&M continues to have their own way, 37-7, they lead TCU. Just under 3 minutes to play in this third quarter. So Tullius will kick it off. 5 yards deep in the end zone, will not bring this one back out. And the Horned Frogs will go from their own 20. Take another look at that play just a moment ago. Is this a muff or is it a play, Mike?
I'm not sure. If it's a fake, I'm surprised. Okay, because I think the kicker's surprised right there. But it was unsuccessful.
Darren Schultz will work at quarterback again for TCU. Wishbone for the TCU Horned Frogs as they line it up offensively. It's Michael Jackson, number 27 on the carry. He's a junior out of Corpus Christi Miller High School, 5'10", 195. Clinton Coriat on the stop. And look at the numbers on Bucky Richardson, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 rushing and 2 passing. Personal high for him. The pass is complete at the 30-yard line. It's Harper who takes it up the sideline and finally gets belted out of bounds at the 43-yard line. This is the man who caught him.
Nice catch by Baraka Harper, number 3, and then Patrick Bates, the free safety that's with good size. A lot of people compare to the Denver free safety Steve Atwater, who used to play at Arkansas. Interesting stat: 4 touchdowns have been scored tonight with the win.
As soon as that ball was handed off defensively, Eric England was right there in the backfield. Watkins had no place to go. Now look at the Aggies here as far as the 91 wrecking crew, and just go back through the years and look at the number of games and the average sacks, and then in the far right column, that's what their record turned out to be. So that's what I was alluding to as far as off the top of the telecast tonight about defensively, whether people have kept that close a tab on or not. A&M's been a very good defensive football team.
Well, they have, and not only the sacks, but the rushing yardage at Bob Davie, 2.6 yards per game they give up. So you can't run the football against them. People haven't to this point.
Schultz throws the pass complete. And they'll get it back, not only to the original line of scrimmage, he'll take it to the 45.
Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, was a tight end and played at Youngstown State University, and now has turned into be one of the bright young defensive coordinators in the country.
Shipley on that catch, and Frazier was right there to make the stop on him. You know, if you're Schultz, after the first 2 quarterbacks in front of you have been knocked out of the ball game, literally, you have to be a little intimidated when you come out, wouldn't you think?
You think?
I certainly would. Now he's unsure about what he has seen, and he's calling an audible.
He wants a blocker for that outside backer. He sees Quentin Coriat, 44, lined up on the outside, so he wanted to make sure that he brought somebody in to block him.
And you see number 10, Granger, warming up on the sideline. He's again as the Arkansas Razorbacks come down to College Station. Well, flags go down all over the place on that 3rd down play. Illegal procedure against TCU.
Well, they see the blitz coming, and one of the offensive linemen moving early. They brought the
dead ball, false start, offense, still 3rd down.
Brought one of the receivers in to block, but just the threat of the linebackers coming, somebody just moved.
TCU now 8 penalties, 53 yards. Comes the pressure. Schultz holds it up, throws it complete, and Shipley, I don't know how in the world he came up with the football, and even though with a valiant effort, he's going to be about 3, almost 4 yards shy of the 1st down.
Well, A&M turned him loose on defense, brought both inside linebackers and tried to pressure Darren Schultz. Watch, you be the quarterback. Here comes the backers, and here comes the pressure from the outside. Number 9, Marcus Buckley, again in his face, but a great catch by Stephen Shipley, number 87.
Kevin And Smith drops off at a single safety again as Beacon, who has been extremely busy tonight. It's going to be a fake. They snap it to the up back, and let's see. He did not get a good spot, I can tell you that. He is not going to have the first down. And that is the end of the third quarter. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after. The young man we've been talking about, Jeff Granger, the left-hander from Orangefield, Texas.
Jeff Granger.
Rodney Thomas has come into the lineup. Rodney, number 20, gets to the outside, and he'll take it into TCU territory. I mentioned the numbers, Mike, on Granger, and as you mentioned, he is their future as far as the quarterback. But I'll tell you what, as far as the baseball team, he was 9-2 last year at an ERA of 3.20, and he struck out 121 batters. And that strikeout total set a new record at Texas A&M.
I like those left-handed pitchers.
Well, total yards, 508 for the Aggies, 115 for TCU. Randy Simmons gets sandwiched, did not before, and he picks up 11, make it 12 yards. Evans and Hickman make the stop. Mike, if you're going to have two quarterbacks, one a righty, one a lefty, you got to make sure that those tackles are good, not just on the left side, but you got to have somebody good on the right side.
Well, you really do, because it's the blind side that the quarterback that you want to protect. Right-handed quarterback is the left tackle, left-handed quarterback is the right tackle. But if you're coaching also, you'd like to see Jeff Granger throw the ball a little bit here. You don't want to run the score up, and you don't want to be accused of that, but you do want to see Jeff Granger get some work.
Thomas running hard, takes it inside the 35, and it's Reggie Anderson who knocked him down. You can see the heater going down there at the TCU sideline as I mentioned to you, that as the front has come through, its temperature is going to settle in like the mid-20s here in the Fort Worth area tonight, and it's getting rather cool. Gets the handoff, blasted at the line of scrimmage, breaks off that tackle, and he'll wind up with 1 extra yard in the play. Let's check in with Chris Fowler once again. Chris.
All right, Ron, a reminder that SportsCenter.
Mike, I was talking about the depth that the Aggies have at running back, and one of the kids I didn't mention who is now coming to the ballgame is Rodney Thomas, because he was another one he's from Groveton, Texas, and he was highly sought after as well. That pass is tipped and almost a reoccurrence of what happened earlier in the ball game that went for a touchdown. Rattan, I should say, got a hand and knocked this one away, but it was Biggins who almost got the deflection.
And Greg Evans, number 6, got over there also. You're going to see Jeff Granger roll to his left-handed quarterback. Good protection. Just kind of floats the ball, but remember, he's throwing into a wind. Perfect shape for the interception.
Well, it's 4th down, and Granger will stay in the ball game, and the Aggies will go for it. Five-step drop, under pressure, loses the football, and now it has been recovered. I believe it's Jeff Jones, yeah. The redshirt freshman out of Colleen, and it was Roosevelt Collins who made the hit. Triple header coming up this Saturday here on ESPN. Ohio State, number 19, takes on Minnesota. That's at 12:30 Eastern time. Then we'll go down to the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Georgia and Florida, the world's largest cocktail party. 4 o'clock Eastern time start on that one. And Mike and I will be
good athletes on both those teams.
Watkins, the lone setback. And for those of you sitting at home said, well, wait a minute, he took a step and then came back. He can do that being a running back. No motion as long as the ball was not snapped as he was moving and then getting back. And the hands just getting a little chilly down there on the field.
Thinks it's cold down there. You ought to be up here 8 stories with this wind blowing around up here. We don't have one of those heaters, so I think it'd set us on fire.
Horned Frogs, and they go with the quarterback keeping on that option, and Coriat is there to wrap up Darren Schultz. Gone under 11.5 minutes to play in this one. Aggies 37-7.
A&M did an interesting thing today. Around noon, they boarded the bus, R.C. Slope bus. He drove him over to the Cotton Bowl. Got him out, walked down the ramp. All his young players that are playing this year, the freshman defensive tackle Sam Adams, the freshman running back, he wanted them to see the Cotton Bowl. He feels like they have an excellent shot to be there for the bowl game. He wanted them to have that experience today. It's a good motivational tool.
Yeah. On third down, Schultz gets the pass away, and it is almost caught by Shipley. Not quite. So it's going to be fourth down for TCU. Oh, here's Greg Hill on the, and you see the GHT, Greg Hill time. He had that made up for himself, but also for some members of his family. 19 carries, 114 yards for him. GHT, Greg Hill time. I have a feeling the next 3 years may be Greg Hill time in this conference, the way he plays. Into the end zone, so let's take a timeout. 10:46 left to play. And 46 seconds left to play in this one, and the Aggies with a commanding 30-point lead. Straight ahead with a handoff, and this is Cliff Gross has come into the ballgame, number 31. I want to get a mention, and Dave Elmendorf was an outstanding defensive back at Texas A&M, played for the Rams. He is on the broadcast team for Texas A&M, and I saw him before the game. He is jetting right out of here to head down to Florida. It's the Roy Hobbs over 40 baseball championships, and Elmendorf is playing baseball.
You think he has any room in that plane?
We're single in purpose as far as your thoughts.
I'll swing, take two, and hit the right. Just get it and put me on that plane.
And let's go down once again to Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Well, gentlemen, there's a lot of tradition at Texas A&M. They don't have cheerleaders, they have yell leaders. And I'm with the head yell leader, Kerry Cox. And Kerry, you don't have cheers, you have yells. But first of all, how do you get to be a yell leader?
Well, it's basic. Student body elections, general election. You go around, shake a lot of hands, meet a lot of people. And student body, they get out and vote. And highest number of votes, of course, gets in. And you have to be at least a junior or a senior, because there are 2 junior slots and 3 senior slots.
We'll come back into this play, Kerry. Stay with me.
On the running play, out of it, the 30 is Gross. In fact, Jerry, let's go back to maybe get him to crank up a yell for us.
Well, Kerry, maybe you can crank up a yell for us here, Kerry. Do a yell for us.
Get it out there.
Let's go again! Come on, Army!
Doing is they're signaling what yell is going to be, and they pass it on up through the stands with the hand signals. Gross takes it up to the 37, and let's pick up that yell. Here it comes. Now they're making their call. Lewis, who had been nursing a knee injury, as the TCU player is hobbling off the field. Okay, the yell just concluding. The thing I want to ask him is why. I know the other part of tradition is to wear those short sleeve shirts, but tonight I think I might have abandoned that. Simmons, he's going to be hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down at the 35-yard line.
A good play by Billy Weems, this freshman defensive tackle, number 75, came underneath the block and made the play on the tailback.
Boy, and TCU has another player down. That's number 40, Mike Moulton, redshirt freshman from Arlington.
Stings a little bit more on a cold night when you make those tackles. That's what he's got. It looks like a stinger.
You know, Jim Wacker has had some great years in coaching. He's got, what, 4 national championships in 2 different divisions to his credit. But I have to wonder, I'll bet he all those years and said he's never had the kind of injury situation he's had. Just incredible. Pass incomplete. Had the tight end, and Granger threw it just a little bit high. McKeon, the intended receiver on that one. That stops the clock with 7:47 to play in the ball game. This is the first punt of the evening, says the Big E. This is David Davis. Anthony Hickman back in a single safety for TCU. Fair catch is called for and made at the 35. So let's take a break. 7:40 left to play. Fort Worth. Well, the 4th quarter. Your mouth doesn't work totally right when it gets cool, huh? That's Shipley on the reception there, and he will take it down inside the 30 to the 29. Derek Frazier holding on for dear life as Schultz has the completion, and that's good for 36 yards.
Darren Schultz with a nice throw here to Stephen Shipley. Watch Darren Schultz on the pass here. Just a little cheap fake to the running back. Watch the ball being thrown to Stephen Shipley. Number 87, good catch. That was Patrick Bates that went by, and then the tackle made. That was a nice throw by Darren Schultz.
Shipley, a junior from Lindale, Texas. 405 for 71 yards now for Schultz. As the running play goes absolutely nowhere. It's Teichelman who came up to make the hit initially.
I talked to the TCU assistant coaches all week. They are so impressed with A&M, and they were very concerned about the game. They knew that A&M's a talented football team. There's a lot of respect for this A&M team.
The pass is caught by Shipley, and he will take it inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Let's check in with Jerry Punch again. Jerry?
Well, guys, there were 4 Bowl Scouts here tonight, representatives of the Copper Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Independence Bowl, and this bowl right here, the Cotton Bowl. Last week in Boulder, Colorado, they were throwing oranges on the field. A lot of thinking about the Orange Bowl. Tonight, it's all cotton here on the A&M sideline. One of the officers of the day a minute ago from the A&M band handed this to me and said, hey, that's where we're going, guys. We're going to the Cotton Bowl.
Well, if you can believe it, TCU has still another injury. This is Stephen Shipley, who's down, the wide receiver we were just talking about.
Here you're going to see Stephen Shipley with the catch. Here's the tackle by Derek Frazier, number 3. Somebody in underneath, number 58. It's like rolled up on his leg. Here you see the catch again. Looks like an ankle.
Teichelman came in and got on that ankle from behind, and that appears to what has caused the injury.
He's had a nice evening. 6 catches, 80 yards.
Yeah, he really has.
And just a frustrating night for the coaching staff. Joe Panunzio, tight end coach. See Jim Wacker, just a frustration of an evening. Not only were you losing the ball game, you just see so many of your kids that you feel for getting hurt.
6:17 left to play in this one. Texas A&M 37-7. Going to go for the end zone, and that is incomplete. Coming up next, Sports Center with Dan Patrick and Bill Patrick. Magic Johnson's story, a complete update on that. Coming up immediately following the football game. 4th down and 4, and of course trailing by 30 points. TCU will leave the offensive unit on the field. No special teams will come on, and they'll go for it. Aaron Schultz now 5 of 7 for 77 yards. Safety blitz from Texas A&M. They are all over Schultz. 5 times TCU quarterbacks have been sacked tonight, and it's Reggie Graham who got through this time. So timeout on the field. We'll be right back. Kent Petty, number 15, the quarterback from Dallas Lake Highlands, 6'3", 203 pounds. He's a junior. Comes in to operate the squad. This is Rodney Thomas on the carry. I was talking about Rodney. We were visiting about him during the timeout from Growth, and led them to 2 state championships and 2A. He rushed for over 8,000 yards, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. Recruit, recruit, recruit. And they just keep bringing them in. And you get a tailback like Rodney Thomas, who's your third-team tailback. He's explosive enough to probably start for a lot of teams across the country. They have depth, and they've got young depth.
That's the scary thing if you're a part of the conference to have to face them. Thomas again, and cuts it back against the grain. Has one man to beat, and he'll take it across midfield.
Rodney Thomas is the rusher.
Boy, he is not only quick, he's a hard-nosed runner. Hickman finally makes the stop.
A lot of missed tackles, but Anthony Hickman, number 2, won't miss him. He wraps him up. Here you're going to see the ball given to the left side to Rodney Thomas. Now watch him read his blocks. There's a missed tackle. Somebody tried to arm tackle him. Here comes another missed tackle. And then number 2, Anthony Hickman, wraps him up and brings him down.
Going to go straight ahead with the fullback this time, but it's Gross. Across the 50. We talked about the youth for Texas A&M. TCU's the same way. Look at this, Mike. Seniors, only 5 starters for both. Then 9 juniors, only 5 for Texas A&M, and they look at the bottom 2 lines. 9 sophomores and 3 freshmen. 5 and 3, the numbers for TCU. So the Horned Frogs are pretty young as well.
Well, they've got a lot of players who got some experience early who were hurt, who will be back in the spring. So they'll have a lot of depth when they start the season in the fall next year.
Petty with the play action, put it on his hip and rolled outside. And he is close to the first down, but I don't think he's going to get it. And we're about to hit 4 minutes left to play in this one.
Tough thing when you play a Thursday night game for the team that loses, because you have an extra period of time to get ready to play your next game, so the defeat stays with you a little longer. But if you win the game, you really have extra few days to celebrate and give your ball club some time off.
Straight ahead with the handoff, and they're going to have the first down. Take a look at what is remaining as far as the schedule for Texas A&M. They got Arkansas. We'll have that one for you right here on ESPN. It'll be a primetime game. Then they have SMU on the 23rd, and then they wrap it up with Texas on the 28th. Thanksgiving night, that annual Turkey Night shootout, as it were. We'll have that one as well.
I believe all those games are at home too, right?
Yes.
So their schedule's in their favor right at this particular point, because they started out with a schedule in November or in September that was conducive to play their young players. Now when they're facing the heart of their schedule, they got a lot of experience.
Thomas fighting forward. Mike, you got a tough decision to make watching this kid. I know this game is in the books, and it's not the same as running early, but just from the flashes that Thomas shows, you got some tough decisions to make if you're a backfield coach as far as playing time, to make sure everybody stays happy, don't you?
Just think of last year. They had Darren Lewis and Robert Wilson, tailback and fullback, and they left and went to pro football. Now you got all these young players. You're right, they're going to need more than one.
TCU cheerleaders bundled up on the sideline. 6 for 28. Dr. Jerry Punch, before we say so long for the evening, let's get one more update from you.
Guys, I want to explain, one of the reasons you don't see a sophisticated message board and scoreboard here at TCU is that Amon G. Carter, the man who gave the money for the stadium, he stipulated that there be no advertising whatsoever in the stadium. That's why you don't see any advertising signs along the perimeter of the stadium. You don't see a modern scoreboard. They are honoring his wishes. Back upstairs.
Jerry, just a slight editorial comment. I think it is extremely refreshing. I like that. Sometimes it's hard to find the scoreboard through all the advertising anymore. Well, the play goes out of bounds. It'll stop the clock with 2:27 to play. Aggies with a 37-7 lead. That's now 7 carries and 33 yards for Rodney Thomas. I'll tell you, this extra amount of time between ball games, TCU is going to need every day of it as far as mending some people and getting enough to have a quorum. Gross running hard, and he will take it down near the 15-yard line. A&M now 559 yards. Well, it's been a tough night for the Horned Frogs. And as we watch the kids work out this week, the enthusiasm and everything, and as Mike mentioned, the coaching staff, everybody's been great here in Fort Worth. But Jim Wacker and his staff knew they had a monumental task. And as you watch the number 3 tailback, Thomas, take it to the 1-yard line, there's a good reason why. The depth and experience of R.C. Slocum are not necessarily the more experience that they are gaining on a very young football team. Aggies could be kind of scary here for a while.
Yeah, both teams are gaining experience now. Of course, TCU is getting beaten badly here, but there'll be another day, and that's the way you approach it as a player and a coach. There's going to be another time we're going to play these guys, and we got time to reload before the next football game and get ourselves ready to play.
Straight ahead with the running play. That's not going to get into the end zone.
Trying to get Rodney Thomas in the end zone, number 20. Here's the give, but you watch the tackle. Well, we can't see it in there, but you didn't see him cross the plane. Can always tell the sidelines who's ahead.
Up over the top for Thomas, touchdown, Texas A&M. 63 seconds left, and the Aggies now make it 43-7 with the extra point attempt to count.
As I was looking at both coaches smiling there, it's a great feeling, but I tell you, it's a competitive feeling on the other side. Let me tell you, when you get beat like this and you get beat 43-7, you know, the competitiveness, you just want it to come out, and you know you're going to be back again. Nice play by Rodney Thomas over the top for the touchdown.
Terry Vitatulius. He will attempt the extra point. Knocks it home, and we're going to hold it right here with 63 seconds left. And the Texas Aggies now go on top by a score of 44-7.
It's a happy sideline. They have really controlled this football game tonight.
I'll be sure and catch all the NFL action on Sundays on the
possibility. Clemson appears already in. Just where?
Short kick comes down at the 27. That's Morey. Breaks it open. 40 and out to the 45-yard line. So some final numbers as we're under a minute to play in this one. Rushing, Texas A&M 273. Passing 321 for a total of 594. For TCU, 18 yards rushing, 126 passing for 144 yards. Garrison, the ball carrier. First time we've seen him tonight. Clock is running with 45 and now 44.
R.C. Slocum, they poured something on him over there. He's wet. But he's happy. Wet.
Cold and happy and wet. Sets in the pocket. Gets it away, and that one is going to be caught at the 14-yard line, out of bounds at the 12. Now they're going to, first they said keep the clock rolling, and they said nope, he got out of bounds. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch for a quick update on Matt Vogler. What do you have, Jerry?
Guys, the news I like to hear. Matt Vogler, we were worried about his hip a minute ago. We just heard back from X-ray. It was not dislocated. It was not fractured. It was a capsular sprain of his left hip. He should be okay. He should be back very soon. Good news for TCU. Back upstairs.
That is indeed good news. It's going to be the last play of the ball game unless we have a penalty. We will take a break at the end of the game, and then Sports Center coming up. And a timeout has been called as they'll stop the clock with 4 seconds remaining.
I think we also got some good news on the tight end, Kelly Blackwell, that he was all right, too. So both of those players could be back for Jim Wacker's ball club.
Hope so, yeah. Hope so. Coming up, Sports Center. More reaction. And the story from the West Coast today on Magic Johnson. Jim Wacker, it's been a very long evening, not just on the scoreboard, but as Mike mentioned, seen so many of his players going down. And even with the good news that we're getting, some of those guys are going to take a while before he gets them back.
I'm still predicting at this moment, even being beaten 44-7, they'll be in a bowl game.
Think so, huh?
I think they will. I think they'll win one of their last 2 football games.
Puts it up in the end zone. Texas A&M at the 1-yard line. And with that, the final play of the ball game and our final score, Texas A&M 44, TCU 7. Now for Mike Gottfried and Dr. Jerry Punch, I'm Ron Franklin saying thanks for joining us and good night from Fort Worth, Texas.